Morning. Morning. Beautiful, beautiful November 12th day. We call our meeting to order with public comment. Anybody in the audience or online wishing to address the Winona County Board, we have a 2-minute per speaker. You need to come to the podium, please, and state your name and address. And sir, you may be lost. You're wearing a Nebraska Huskers shirt. I am an avid
Right away,
Minnesota.
taking heat.
I am an avid Minnesota Gopher fan, so
I actually have a degree from there too, but anyway, thank you, ma'am. My name is Mike Keefe. I'm from Dover. I've sent a number of letters to Maureen here. She's been kind enough to take them. Nice to work with. I've also sent all of you an additional 1, 2, 3 letters, and the 4th letter also. I don't know if you received those. Nobody responded. There's actually 4. So 13 letters to Maureen, and those 4 together makes, from me alone, 17. My daughter, the victim in this case, sent you 1, and my understanding is she certified mail 1 to Chair Ward.
Heidi should have emailed it to you.
Anyway, is that true? You
Yes, we
received
received
those,
it.
folks? If you haven't received them, please let me know and I'll send everything to Maureen. Okay, my name is Mike Keefe. I'm a retired Minneapolis police officer. I'm a former retired commander. And I'm the author of the book Minneapolis Burning, which is about police corruption. That I'm going to just touch on that just for a few minutes so you know who I am and where I'm coming from. That book was vetted by the United States Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and the former FBI Director, Christopher Wray. Everything in that book is the truth. There's pseudonyms in there to protect some of the people, but the book is the truth. It's about corruption, and I exposed it. And ironically, just within the last month, I've had I've sent a letter to the acting FBI Director, Patel, asking him to toll the statutes on those crimes outlined in that book. When you toll the statutes, that means you can reopen it. Whether or not he'll do that, I don't know. But that brings me to this meeting right here. So that's who I am.
And I'm sorry, Mike, we do allocate 2 minutes, so do you have?
How many minutes, ma'am?
Just 2 and you.
Okay, with that said,
Yeah.
I'm asking you, based on the letters I've sent you, I'm asking you to relieve from duty the county sheriff, his chief deputy, the officer involved, the county attorney, and the 2 county attorneys involved in this criminal misconduct that I've outlined to you. I would prefer you send it directly to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minneapolis. But if you so choose to send it to a local county attorney, I'm fine with that, but not the Fillmore County Attorney's Office, as I outlined in one of my letters. There's a conflict of interest there. Or the BCA. But what I've given you is criminal misconduct in no uncertain terms in those 17 letters. And my experience with police corruption is people oftentimes in positions of power, not saying any of you folks would do this, but they, as I wrote in, they play the obtuse game. That means playing dumb. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't understand. I've done everything I can to explain it to, I assume you people don't have a degree or are not lawyers or former law enforcement officers. So that was the reason I laid it all out like that. It's out of respect, not trying to be arrogant or in any way disrespectful, but I've been down this road before. So I don't want anyone coming back and saying, well, I didn't know, I didn't understand. Okay, and I submit it to you with the deepest respect. And I expect you to turn this over to an outside law enforcement agency. Just in last week's news up in the Twin Cities, a Hennepin County deputy was arrested for stealing, and they immediately farmed it out to an outside law enforcement agency. What I have given you belongs outside of Winona County for your own benefit.
All right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you allowing me to speak today. And again, I submit this to you with the deepest respect.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to address Winona County Board?
Morning.
Good morning.
Todd Sadler, HR Director. I'd like to introduce Jill Chafee as the new Director of Health and Human Services. She started a week ago. Jill, I'll let you kind of talk about yourself.
Thank you, Todd. I'm really pleased to be here. My husband and I have moved to Winona, and we have history here in terms of this is where we met initially. He went to Winona State and worked here for several years, and we always wanted things to come back full circle. I have extensive experience in both the public and private sector. And I hope that I can bring Winona County the types of things that are challenging us today and ways to provide solutions for some of those. I'm always happy to entertain questions. So thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you very much.
Mattia McGuire, owner of Common Ground Treatment Center and Sober Housing located at 730 West Broadway Avenue, Winona. I hope we all sound like a broken record today looking behind me. The work done here by Treatment Courts, CJCC, and the RAP program and their dedicated staff is not just a service. It is a critical investment in the public safety and human potential. The positive impact is undeniable. For clients who come to us with court-mandated obligations or as an alternative to incarceration, treatment and the stability of supportive housing offer a path to true recovery. All of the programs I mentioned are designed to improve long-term outcomes and significantly reduce relapse rates by addressing underlying issues like trauma and mental health by using intensive care coordination and other interventions. This comprehensive approach is what allows individuals to successfully reintegrate into the community as productive, contributing citizens. We retain this expertise by providing sustainable living wages and funding to those staff and the programs on the front lines. Now, consider the consequences of reduced funding. A failure to invest here is not a saving, it is a catastrophic cost shift. Cutting funds means diminishing the continuum of care and making long-term stability almost impossible, which drives a significant surge in relapse. This in turn leads to escalating societal costs through higher healthcare expenditures, increased law enforcement involvement, and a growing burden on our criminal justice system. When we support treatment courts and other related programs, we are not just funding a program, we are building a healthier, more resilient, and safer community for everyone.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to address the Winona County Board?
Hi, I'm Tara Brown. I'm a graduate of Winona County Treatment Court. I'm currently, and I'm from Winona. I'm currently 5 years clean, and I would not have been able to do that without treatment court. It like reunited me with my kids, my family. I'm now a productive member of society. I'm also part of CJCC. The RAP program helped me, and I watch it help many of my friends that are going through just getting into recovery. And I tried to go through regular treatments and stuff, and it never worked for me. So up until I was offered treatment court, I was still struggling. I would get out of jail or get out of treatment and just relapse right away. Without the support of treatment court, their staff, the other members in treatment court at the same time as me, I don't think I would have been able to succeed. And I think by looking at people like me and, other success stories, it just shows how much of an impact this has, because I was out there committing crimes. I was in and out of jail. I just couldn't get myself together. So I really think it would be catastrophic to people like me if any of these programs were cut. So thank you.
Thank you. Hey, is there anyone else wishing to address?
My name is Brittany Kilmus, and I'm from Winona, also a treatment court person. I went through the treatment court program. I'm a success story. I am over 12 years clean, going on 13 right now, and it is all because of the treatment court program. I was also a mess, and I was a havoc to our society. I was out doing crimes and everything beyond the sun. I am not the only one in my family who's been success story either. I also have another one here in the room who's also a success because of this program. But we, for the first time, are able to live our life because of this program. It's literally saved me. I think it's a huge part of our community that is necessary because we have a lot of addiction. And without this program, it's like kind of like a last hope for a lot of people. And it is saving lives. So I hope you guys don't cut the budget for this because we really need it. I mean, it speaks for itself. We have a lot of success from this program. Thank you. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Jacob Millen. I'm a Winona County resident, born and raised. I'm also a graduate from the Winona County Treatment Court programs. Treatment court saved my life, but it went beyond that. It changed my life. I'd probably held up residents in the Winona County Jail for longer than I have any other address here in Winona. So, that program, it stepped up. It showed me support. It showed me a lot of different things that I didn't have going into that program. I was just a repeat offender, kind of trying to get my life together, just really didn't know how to do it. With the support from them guys, they really got me into doing a lot of different things. Just the leadership from that team showed me how I can make an impact in the community. It got me involved with the Foxhole Discovery, which I believe is also here today. I'm a sitting board member on that, and do a lot of different things for the community, and none of that is possible without treatment court. For me, they didn't just help me get through the addiction. They helped me work through some of the other problems in my life. And, they don't just, help people with the disease. They also create leaders in the community. And, I think it would be, it would make a huge impact if that went away. So I really would like to see that support continue. And, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So planning on doing this, I'm Ann Hennessy. Jacob and Brittany are related. Jacob's my son, Brittany's my niece. This program, I have children with addiction. I come from a long family of addiction. This program is breaking cycles in families. I know my 3 children are all sober and clean. Not because of me, because of this program. And it would be a true devastation to this community to stop a program like this. They have, their children are clean because of it. They're doing so well. And it would just be heartbreaking to me. And I know a lot of families who have tried to work through the alcoholism and the drug addiction that we couldn't stop. But because of this program, it has stopped, and it will continue in their children and in the rest of our families that see what a great influence these people have had on them. And it would be heartbreaking for it to stop. So I pray that you will continue this program. Thank you.
I'm sorry, we need your full name and address.
Ann Hennessy, I'm a resident of Winona. It's,
Okay, it's for the public record. Thank you.
oh, sure.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Mary Ann Abendroth, and I'm a professor of nursing here at Winona State University. I'm a resident of Onalaska, Wisconsin. I'm here to say a few words about the benefits of treatment court. Students in my public health nursing course have had the opportunity to observe the treatment court process and learn how mental health, addiction, and social determinants of health intersect with the justice system. For example, they see how treatment plans integrate counseling and community support. Students see how these programs reduce recidivism, improve family stability, and enhance public health and community safety. Students see that these programs play a vital role in communities because they address the root cause of many criminal behaviors through treatment rather than punishment. One student has told me that observing treatment court has been one of the most amazing, impactful experiences she's had. She said, reading stories about sobriety and seeing it on TV is one thing, but to hear participants actually talk about their successes and challenges and to see the support is a whole different experience. The treatment court program promotes community safety and has an impact on the healthcare system because it reduces the strain on emergency services and connects participants to much needed health services that they otherwise may never receive. The treatment court program can improve the health of participants through rehabilitation and in turn benefit your entire community. I ask you to continue your support of the Winona County treatment program. Thank you. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Venable. I'm a resident of Winona. I am currently a Phase 4 participant of the Winona County Treatment Court, and it's been life-changing. Sorry, so I don't remember the last time that I've been over a year and a half sober since I was 16. The bonds and the commitment that Winona County Treatment Court has put in and the effort that they have is unimaginable. It's life-changing. I'm now in college for engineering and making a life for myself. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Catherine Sublette. I'm a Winona resident, and I am the executive director of Let's Erase the Stigma. I've been volunteering at treatment court for over 8 years, and I can't say enough about how this funding is needed. What we do at my organization is we help people get their criminal background sealed, and I receive a lot of the people that do the work in the treatment program, and we just had a young man who had 19 offenses expunged, and he's going on to be a transport officer in Winona County. So I think those funds are well spent and well deserved. What the treatment court does is it restores hope, it reunites family, and it actually brings together community. And I think it takes a village, and we all need this. Thank you.
We've, just 1 minute, sir. With the permission of the board, we have exceeded the time we allot for this function. Does the board want to continue hearing?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Please,
No, come back.
please. I just needed, I needed it to be a group decision. Thank
I'm
you.
a graduate of Winona Treatment Court. And I graduated from treatment court, I don't know, a few years ago.
Your name and address.
My name is Kirk Peterson, and I'm a Winona resident. Yeah, I graduated from treatment court, I think it was a few years ago, but I've been sober almost 4 years, about 2 weeks shy of 4 years, but I'm saying is the cost of what in my active addiction, what I cost the community, I gotta believe was astronomical. You know what I mean? Running around trying to keep my fix going on a daily basis and in and out of jails and prisons. It's the only program that I believe that would have worked for me. And today I work full time, and the expenses that I acquired in my years of running around doing these crazy things, I was like $20,000, and I'm in the process of getting all that paid off, through the jail time, the probation fees and all that stuff. So if it wasn't for treatment court, I don't think it would be, I don't even think I would be alive today if it wasn't for treatment court. I see it, with people that have graduated, and not all make it, but some do. And it's the best program that I have seen, because I've been in a few, and it's the only program that would have worked for me. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kevin Schulte, Winona County resident. So I actually seen you guys all here a few months ago, and, you know, spoke on treatment court at that point. And then, you know, I heard about this from Karen about possible funding cuts, and, let's just say, you know, I was in trouble my whole adult life. I mean, years and years. I cost this county a lot of money. I can guarantee it was a lot more than what it cost for me to go through treatment court, RAP program and everything else. You know, it's, please don't cut it. It's made a huge difference in my life, my family's lives, everybody else's lives. It's, yeah, it's a big thing. I guess, best way I could put it is, you know, the money, it'll get spent one way or another, either jail, you know, people getting in trouble, or helping people to make their lives better. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, I am Dr. Carrie Travis, and I am a resident of Galesville, Wisconsin. But I grew up on a farm in southeastern Minnesota, and I've been practicing as an educator, as a public health nurse, and a nurse who has assisted people in recovery for about 30 years. And I'm currently working as a college administrator, so I understand the tight budgeting process and how difficult it can be. I wanted to just highlight the fact that I do consider treatment court to be a cost-saving measure for our community in the way that it reduces the load on law enforcement. It is very true what Professor Abendroth said regarding emergency department visits, and that is a high cost if you are not intervening with people who are struggling with substance use. And specifically, what I have learned through watching treatment court that I would like to just really highlight is the ability to join children back with their parents, keeping them out of the foster care system, and in some ways, I believe, preventing them from going down the same path, because some of the behaviors are learned behaviors. And so we can become people who are in recovery, and we can pass that on to our children. And I think that is a huge cost-saving measure that I wanted to highlight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Josh Jacobson, 6-year Winona resident. I currently work as an alcohol and drug counselor for Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge. I run the community outpatient program within the Winona County Jail. Prior to that, I worked for Common Ground in town here as a peer recovery specialist. And so you've heard today from a lot of individuals who have been through treatment court themselves, but I want to talk to you today a little bit about the effect that treatment court has on the community as a whole, outside of just the individuals that go through it. Working as a peer recovery specialist at Common Ground, I would take people to get acclimated back into the community, whether it's job searching, getting a driver's license back, or attending recovery-based social events. And treatment court is always kind enough to include not just treatment court participants, but the whole recovery community. And what I witnessed was a lot of times these events were their first interaction with the community since they've been in recovery. And so many times just being invited to that and included in how welcoming the whole treatment court team and the participants were to them made a huge difference. Some of these events included walking in the parade, the steamboat days, the Goodview Days parades, cookouts, kickball events, roller skating, campfires, among other things. And these events, I mean, they're so amazing. You see not just the participants, but like I said, others in the recovery community, sons, daughters, moms, dads. It's a whole family event. And these events aren't about roasting s'mores, throwing out candy, or who wins the games, although that's all fun. But these events are about teaching people and their loved ones a new way of life that includes love and laughter. You see, I mentioned how treatment court helps the community, but really it's a treatment court family that they're creating. And if school wasn't going on right now, I know you'd see children behind you, and it's just so awesome to see that. And it's a family whose children will be all of our neighbors someday, but will also grow up knowing what a life of recovery looks like, thanks in part to what treatment court has done. I also, oh, I'm out of time. I'll quit there. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else wishing to address the county board? Oh, our time's up.
Good morning, Ron.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ron Gandred, Winona County Sheriff, resident of St. Charles. I just want to voice my support for drug court and all the other programs that Winona County has. It's helping keep the numbers in the jail down. I love it when I see the numbers down. We get very disappointed when we keep arresting the same people over and over again. And as somebody already said, we like to see that cycle broken. We have a lot of programs in Winona County. A few years ago, before we were able to open the new jail, we had to close all our programs. And since we have the new jail and we have the different programs we got 17 different programs in the jail, and I think they all help too for recidivism. But the programs that we started with drug court, I was supportive of that when we first thought about it. I'm still supportive of it. The sheriff's office does their part in keeping people on the right track, I would say. We do the curfew checks when drug court asks us to. We literally go out to the house and make sure they're home when they're supposed to be. And we check on them more than once sometimes. In the past, we've done the urine tests on them to make sure that they're clean. So I just want to say I support the drug court program, the RAP program, and I'd really like to see us fill Katie's spot that's open now for the jail social worker. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me talk to.
With discretion, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, treat you all alike.
This is for department head honor to a individual, if Karen Hyder would come up. And I'll pass this around.
Thank you.
This was not planned on the same, or to be on the same day as we're trying to explain everybody's support of our programs. I had meant to do this, and then Todd Sadler, our personnel director, had also mentioned to me that it's always good to honor exceptional employees of Winona County. And Karen Hyder is one of them. Karen is our treatment court coordinator. And she was awarded, I've just passed around the, have a look at it. Get nervous talking about Karen. It's the Karen and Karen show. We always joke about that. Our names are spelled almost the same.
Yes.
C and K, but Karen. And I would like to read, because it's easier to read when I start getting nervous. I don't get nervous in court. I get nervous in front of you guys.
We're
Well, and
worse than that.
And part of it is I'm so proud of the work that Karen and all of the people back here, the participants in treatment court, their families, thank you for being here. The supporters of treatment court, our team members, many of them are here. But I want to focus on Karen because she is the heart of treatment court, but she's also the heart of our RAP program. She works in that. She works in CJCC, and among many of us who devote time to these programs. So let me read what I said about Karen in my letter to support her nomination for this award. It is my honor and privilege to provide this letter of support for Karen Hyder's nomination for a 2025 MCA award. I've known Karen for over 8 years when she started as the coordinator for the treatment court of Winona County. In my capacities as Winona County attorney,
as chair of the Winona County Criminal Justice Coordinating Council and as founding member of the treatment court team, I've had the opportunity to work with Karen not only as her supervisor, but also as a colleague. Karen is an extraordinary professional, an individual who goes above and beyond in her work, not just as the coordinator. She is an active and valuable member of various CJCC committees, as well as her leadership role on the Alliance for Substance Abuse and Prevention, and her work with our Winona County Reentry and Assistance Program, WRAP Plus, just to name a few. Karen and I share a common purpose to implement criminal justice programs to help individuals break the cycle of criminal justice involvement and help them re-enter the community with support to succeed in life. Karen approaches her work with integrity, respect for, and commitment to all those she works with, whether they be treatment court participants and alumni, work colleagues, the court, and our community members. Awarding Karen a 2025 MCA award would recognize an individual who is exceptional in her work and her work-related volunteer activities. She is creative and collaborative in her work. She has a strong intellectual curiosity that helps her rise above the mundane. She does all this in a thoughtful and unpretentious manner while getting the work done. And that's why I endorsed her, and she won. So I'll let Karen just speak to this, but I just want you to know what kind of folks we have in Winona County on your staff. These are your employees. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for that. And nice to see all of you today. So yes, I do have some remarks. Karen Hyder, treatment court coordinator for almost 9 years, county employee for over 5. So during my last presentation to the county board, Commissioner Ward requested some treatment court statistics. So that's what I'm bringing you today, different than what others are sharing. So here we go. Graduation rates for fiscal year 25. The graduation rate for the entire state of Minnesota was 59%. The national graduation rate is 58%. Our current graduation rate here in Winona County is 63%, exceeding both Minnesota and national averages. Compared to other treatment courts across the state, again in fiscal year 25, we're in the 80th percentile for success as it relates to retention and completion of the program. Recidivism. For fiscal year 23, the recidivism rate, this means felony and gross misdemeanor convictions 1 year post exit from the program. So that rate, 10.7%. Therefore, nearly 90% of those who have graduated from treatment courts are not reoffending our communities. Sobriety. Sobriety in our programs is defined as passing more drug tests in the last phase of the program as compared to the first phase of the program. Collectively as a state, the improved sobriety rate for this year, fiscal year 25, over 75%, 75.3%. Just a couple more. Cost savings. Treatment courts nationwide save an average of $6,000 for every person they serve. Cost saving figures at the state of Minnesota are currently being researched. Our evaluation specialist at the state points us to a Georgia study that was just conducted in fiscal year 25. For every $1 invested, $6.60 was saved. For every graduate, $25,921 in economic benefit. Last but not least, I have to talk about public health. In 2021, the BJA research study showed that communities who implemented a treatment court saw a 45% decrease in overdose death rates. This impacts our entire county. We are in a public health crisis, and treatment courts significantly combat against losing lives to addiction. So I just wanted to give that to you. Thank you so much for your support of my position of treatment court, CJCC, RAP Plus, restorative justice. All of these programs are melded together so much, and we need one another to serve the community well.
Can you be sure and give, be sure and give those statistics, because I couldn't put them down fast enough too, Ms. Hulting.
I realized there's no way I was gonna keep up with that.
Yeah.
I'll give it to Marie.
Question, what is adventure race?
So you saw the Fillmore County Journal.
I read your deal.
Oh,
No, it's right here. I read
you.
this quick.
Oh, it's in there too.
I can read
Okay,
fast.
it was in the journal too. So look at the Fillmore County Journal. Adventure racing, it's like a triathlon, except for,
You did that.
Yep.
But I thought it was late at,
Right.
so I just thought.
yep, so a triathlon, you understand what that concept, I'm sure. However, adventure racing uses the body and the mind. You're navigating. So you have a compass, you don't get to use your phone, and you go out. I did a 5-hour race this past July. You have a compass and you navigate and you find your way through the forest. In Wisconsin is where I did this. And you have to paddle, you have to bike, and you have to hike, but you need to do it all without knowing your way. And you find checkpoints along the way, and that's how you succeed. Check it out.
Remember, she lives down in the river valley.
We all need hobbies,
Peterson,
you're right.
They know how to get out of there on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations. But it didn't come with any monetary reward. It's just a plaque you can hang on the wall. Okay, all right. Because somebody does some big golf thing. Now, what does that money?
Restorative justice.
Okay, yeah, and that raised, in donations, I saw that raised a chunk of change. I'm not a golfer, but, and I do have a little angst about golfing to raise money for criminal justice, but I give it.
I don't think any of these people do any of their work for money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hire people.
But I mean, we'll take any kind of contributions and donations and we do take money. We do take donations and contributions and money. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Gwen Herbert, Executive Director of CJCC and oversee the RAP Plus program and a City of Winona resident. I just want to thank also everyone coming here today to support Treatment Court, tell their stories, share their successes. Grateful to hear all of that, and I hope that you are all too. I just wanted to weave the thread through programs that we're talking about this morning. So what RAP Plus does can be akin to what Treatment Court does for all other charges other than felony drug charges, which is what Treatment Court focuses on. And then anyone involved in Treatment Court also can qualify for RAP Plus. But the idea of being able to support people to really figure out root causes of their justice involvement and help them get them stabilized and on their feet. And ultimately, as has been underscored many times here, provide that cost savings. If funding to these programs is cut, it will be a cost shift. But also I want to bring the thread back to CJCC, Treatment Court, RAP Plus, Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention, among others, would not have been possible without CJCC, the capacity building that it was able to bring, the grant funding that it was able to bring. So I know that hasn't been as much of the focus here, but I just wanted to bring up folks like there. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thanks. Okay, is there anybody, I didn't see anybody online. Anybody online? Okay, yes, please.
So I already sent an email to everybody, so hopefully you got
Yes.
that this morning. I'm Bill Moe. I live in Winona. I'm also a probation officer assigned to Treatment Court. And I guess for selfish reasons, if nothing else, I'm here to talk about how the programs that we are talking about and represented by the people behind me have impacted my career so substantially that it's been one of the most rewarding careers that a person could have, I think, if this is the field that you're going into. So I just wanted to really stress that all these people back here have made that happen. And I'm still here working for Winona County because of them, and hopefully doing a good job for you guys. So I just wanted to say that. You got my email. I think everybody else spoke really well about the things that I wanted to say in my emails. That's what I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking your time to come and speak to us. We'll move on in our meeting agenda, or of course, do people want to leave? We can, go ahead, feel free to leave.
We're just getting to the good part.
Yeah, we know your intention.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kev.
We know it saves money, but it also costs a lot of money, as everything does in government.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
We gotta figure it out.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Somebody got the memo. They make it
Tennessee?
coffee stronger.
That's one of my wife's favorite sweatshirts.
I love this.
That's wonderful.
One of my sons gave it to me.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, moving on in our agenda, item 3, approve of the county board meeting minutes from October 28, 2025.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Elsing, second by Commissioner Vagley. to approve the meeting minutes, October 28th. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Approved. Item number 4, acknowledge receipt of approved committee meeting minutes. 4.1 is the Health and Human Service Advisory Committee, September 16th, 2025. 4.2 is the Planning Commission, September 18th, 2025. And 4.3 is the Board of Adjustment, September 18th, 2025.
So moved again. I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Elzing, seconded by Commissioner Vagley to accept the acknowledged receipt approved committee meeting minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Approved. Just one note, I know we're changing our Zoom things and our meeting things, so, and I had difficulty getting hooked up in the planning committee. I was out of town. I did finally make it through. I'm hoping IT is getting some of those little bugs worked out. And I don't know if it's something that needs to be installed on our own, our computer system.
Did you do connect by phone or Zoom or your computers?
Computer, because they have to see,
Yeah.
so I had to have the video, but anyway, I did finally get through. It's noted in the meeting minutes. I joined late, but so we need IT to be aware of maybe there's something that needs to be done is my point. Thank you. All right, item 5, consent comments and approval of the agenda. Ms. Sonneman?
I have nothing
Okay. Mr.
beyond what I
Bagley?
got already.
Commissioner Bagley?
3 quick things at the end of the meeting, please.
Okay. Mr. Elzing?
Comment.
Commissioner Olson?
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Meyer?
Nothing, Madam Chair.
Okay, and attorney, or attorney.
Looks
I'll
like I'm
give you another
promoted.
degree.
Okay, then.
I didn't see that plaque on your wall.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nothing, Madam Chair.
Administrator Holte. Okay, and I will reserve the right if something doesn't get covered for the end. Okay, so with that, the consent business it's there.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Olson to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, agenda approved. Ms. Holte, would you read the consent business into the record, please?
Absolutely. 6.1, approve conditional use permit for Peter and Lisa Wingert. 6.2, approve advertisement for 2026 official newspaper. 6.3, approve 2026 county board schedule. 6.4, approve resolution establishing 2026 minimum salary for elected positions. 6.5, approve purchase of service agreement with National Alliance on Mental Illness, Southeast Minnesota. Excuse me. 6.6, approve renewal of purchase of service and business associate agreements with Partners in Excellence for Children's Mental Health Targeted Case Management. 6.7, approve amendment of grant contract for child and teen checkups, administrative services to medical assistance eligible children birth through 20 years of age. 6.8, approve resolution and agreement 1061127 for state local bridge replacement program grant for CASA 26 bridges. 6.9, award bid for CASA 12 grading and bituminous resurfacing project for, Dankwork Companies. 6.10, acknowledge receipt of monthly finance and budget update for September 2025. 6.11, confirm payment of disbursements.
I'll move to approve the consent business as it was read.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Olson to approve the consent business as read. Any discussion? Just a point. Pardon me?
I was gonna make a point.
Yes.
It was good to see we have another construction company
Yes.
that
First time, sounds like.
first time, and it's always good to have comparative bids, and that's good to see. We need more of that. So
Yes, yeah, that is good to see. I just do find it almost entertaining that 6.4, approve resolution establishing 2026 minimum salary for electeds. I hope the other electeds take that as a duly noted statute and maybe work their requests off of that, start at that base.
8,000?
And yeah, start at that base and justify and work your way up, because I know you'll be coming and approaching us soon. I thought it brought a smile and a laugh to me to see that amount there. Where it came from or how long it is. Anyway, okay, we have a motion.
Where you can get it? Is that what you're telling us?
Huh?
You're taking it where you can get it?
Yeah.
Your laugh?
Well, yeah, yes, yeah, cheap thrills. You don't laugh very often in government. It's pretty, everything we do is pretty serious. So when you get to laugh, you got to enjoy the laughter. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent business as read. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, approved. All right, moving into 7, general business. 7.1, receive presentation from Big Brother, Big Sisters. And I see some of the staff is here.
Yes.
Morning. Yeah, it's been, that's history.
Haven't changed a bit.
Thank you. I am Jeannie Meyer, the Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Seven Rivers Region. Some of you know, I used to work here years ago with a collaborative, mental health, family service collaborative, and mental health, children's mental health. And then I moved into Family and Children's Center and did child abuse investigations for 12 years. So it's good to be back. I love working in Wisconsin and Minnesota. Actually, it was nice driving in here today because I missed the drive. But I'm here to talk about Big Brothers Big Sisters today. You know, we've evolved quite a bit since 1969. So we've been around for 56 years, doing amazing work with youth in our community. We started off as the La Crosse County program. And in 1993, we branched off and became our own incorporated organization, became the Cooley Region Big Brothers Big Sisters program. And then in 2012, evolved again because we added more communities, more counties to our programming. And we became Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Seven Rivers region. And so we're one of 246 organizations that exist nationally that focus our programming on one-to-one youth mentoring. We serve children between the ages of 5 to 18. And then we had a national movement that now incorporates children from, or I should say young adults from 18 to 24. We know that that's a huge adjustment in life, you know, for many youth who age out and really don't have those supports. And so they recognized, you know, with the best practices that we have as a Big Brothers Big Sisters program, that we continue to work with those young adults to make sure that they're successful transitioning into young adulthood. We have been serving for the last several years, southeastern Minnesota and southwestern Wisconsin. We have over 12 counties, but our largest, services are focused in Winona County itself, La Crosse County, and Monroe County. We're just a very small staff right now, and we have been in rebuilding stages for the last 3.5 years. I'm sure you have seen people come and go. And so what we're really trying to create through our program is some consistency and a really solid foundation in which to work from so we can grow our programming. And we're going to talk a little bit today about the pilot project that we're going to have with Fastenal. It is up. I'm sorry. So this is Allison Bram, who is our operations director, and she's going to talk a little bit about what I think is a very exciting time for us in Fastenal. And we're partnering with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America and looking at launching Leaders in Littles.
Hi, I'm Allison. So Leaders in Littles is a brand new, it's a site-based mentoring project. So Big Brothers Big Sisters has a few different types of mentoring. We have community, which is where they can go out and kind of do as they please with obviously permission, with, you know, going to ice cream shops, movies, stuff like that. Site-based, it is contained to one specific building. So in this case, it would be an elementary school. So we like to keep site-based specifically for our younger kiddos, just because we like to have teachers there, adults, us if possible, peace of mind for everyone. So Leaders in Littles is partnering with Fastenal. So we are primarily having Fastenal employees come in to mentor our elementary school students. So this is kind of brand new to us. We haven't partnered with a specific company like this before. So I think it'll be really cool. And so our program overview, we are only asking for about an hour a week from our mentors. So this kind of looks like our Fastenal employees coming in, and usually it's over lunch, recess. It can kind of be whenever would work best for the school at hand or the student.
Tell Heidi to move if you want them to fast
yeah.
forward any of the.
Sorry.
I just wanted to remind you.
And so they just come in for an hour a week, and it is their opportunity to connect about life experiences, if the child is interested about that mentor's work, just kind of a chance to build a connection that they might not otherwise get. It's not often that some of these kiddos have that opportunity to learn about industry like Fastenal, or just a variety of life experiences outside of an elementary school student perspective in their family. And so it is really just to bridge that gap. That is what my goal was with all of this, is to bridge the gap of our really little generations to our adult community members who maybe they don't have families yet, or they're just trying to give back in the ways that they've received. And so that's kind of just our little overview there. And so I do have some statistics here. So our national office, BBBS America, had run some studies this past year over the effects of mentoring, whether it be site or community-based. And so we have 65% of youth have had a conversation with an adult outside of their family that have changed their career or education direction. And that is very important. From someone who was born and raised and educated all throughout Wisconsin and Minnesota, I think I received an excellent education, but I love to explore other things. And I think that is something that I would love to bring to the younger generations. Obviously, they are not at a career decision age, but they are open to exploring. And then we have 81% of youth agree that having a mentor makes them feel more confident in decisions about school, work, or life. This is my favorite one because it encompasses all that a child experiences. They get school, work, and life, obviously not our elementary school students, but confidence is suffering. I've worked in many schools, and obviously now I work directly with children who face adverse experiences. They want to succeed and they want to do well and they want all of these good things, but they don't believe in themselves to do it. Having a separate third party outside of a family, outside of a friend who kids feel is required to build them up, builds that confidence that they're lacking. And so I find that really important. I've had kids, when I talk to the kids about these types of programs, that is what they say. They believe their family to some capacity, but your mom is telling you that you're amazing, that you're doing great. There's also that little part in their brain that tells them that that's their mom who doesn't want to tear them down. So having someone, a professional who has these experiences, will build them up. And then 83% agree that mentorship helps bridge that gap that I was talking about earlier. And youth with mentors are 30% less likely to engage in violence-related behaviors and 42% likely to use substances repeatedly. And obviously, substance use is not necessarily our prime concern with elementary school students. But again, as working in schools, sadly, it is still a concern that those schools are facing. So anything that we can do to alleviate that at their little age is my goal. Okay. And then next slide, please. So BBBS and Winona. So currently we are serving 36 children throughout community and our site-based programs in Winona. And then we have had an ongoing presence, I think, probably since we first started. Yeah, so we are very well versed with Winona. It's one of my favorite counties to work with. I think Winona schools are probably the most calls I get asking for our presence with their students. I think I get at least 2 calls a week from a Winona family asking about enrollments or asking about the process. They really want to get involved. So that's something that I take note of. And when I hear interest, I want to go there and I want to give those people what they can. And we've been really focusing on our recruitment towards Winona and our recruitment as a whole, but recruitment towards Winona specifically just kind of ties in with that piece earlier of there's a want and I want to bring it there. So we are ready to expand our leaders and littles, and I really think that this would do a lot of good for our Winona kiddos. I've spent a lot of time in the elementary schools throughout Winona, throughout the Southeast Minnesota region, and there is a need. There's kids that have asked me, there's kids when I go and talk to these kiddos, they want to do this, but either their families don't know about it, the school doesn't know about it. We obviously can't force ourselves into these kids' lives and bring them a mentor. So I think that this is something that we could really build upon, and it's absolutely no cost to anyone. So it's kind of a good thing for the schools and for Fastenal as well. So next slide. So our program impact. So for youth, we are seeing improved attendance, engagement, and emotional well-being. We are seeing strength in confidence, communication, and self-regulation, as well as broaden career awareness connection with community members, and 84% of our youth nationally report feeling more confident in their future after 1 year of mentoring. So our leader impact, we also like to point out that obviously our kids, we focus on our kid impact. Our mentors do receive something out of this as well. This is not just they're giving and they're not receiving. They get something out of it too. They will receive enhanced leadership, empathy, and communication skills that kind of ties back in with the business aspect of it. Obviously, the business wants to see the employees getting something out of this and not just taking an hour out of the week, obviously for good of the community, but everyone likes to get a little something. Increased employee morale, attention, and workplace culture. And then strengthened company and community reputation and connection to local youth development. For school and community impact, we are seeing positive shifts in student behavior and participation in schools and in like extracurriculars, community activities, just a general, obviously an increase in involvement, but an increase in positive attitude towards those things. We're seeing improved school spirit, improved community spirit, things of that nature. We are seeing stronger links between education, business, and community engagement, as well as a growing network of adults who model consistency, compassion, and commitment for local youth. Next slide, please. So our kind of goals here, we are hoping to successfully launch our Leaders and Littles pilot program at our selected site will be in January 2026. As of now, I do not believe that we have chosen an elementary school site. We have not presented to the schools. We wanted to kind of chat with you guys first and then go about the schools, kind of in that flow chart. And then we are going to finalize our partnership with Fastenal and allow their employees to mentor during work hours. Our goal is so they could pick an hour out of the week pending the school schedule, their work schedule, what is permitted by their employer. It's really just an hour. Lunch is about that 30-minute time frame, but we like to give them time to get to and from without having to stress about that. And then our goal is to create and sustain 4 to 8 new mentoring matches in Leaders and Littles. And so that is 4 to 8 separate adult mentors from Fastenal, and then 4 to 8 separate children that we would pair together individually. So it's just a duo. And then that is our goal starting, that we would like to gather all of our data from and kind of observe as like our test pool essentially for this pilot year. And then we are, of course, the overall program goal is to support confidence, engagement, and academic, just overall improvement and spirit. And then we are going to be collecting outcome data, feedback, and success stories to guide any further program expansion, anything that we need to change. This first year is just our goal to see what we can do better, what we've been maybe we haven't really thought about, things that have slipped through the cracks, things like that. And then in 2025 to 2026, our focus is on quality, connection, and impact. Those are our 3 main things. Next slide, please. So this is just kind of a tentative timeline for what we're looking at for the remainder of this school year. So beginning fall, we are really focusing on our partnership with Fastenal, as well as our schools kind of getting that base layer set. To winter through early 2026, so kind of looking at that beginning of spring, March timeline is when we're really recruiting our mentors, when we're kind of getting those matches started. We do all of our big trainings, all of our screenings for our mentors, as well as kind of officially launching at our school. And then further into the spring, we are looking at our development support, where we are getting surveys back from our matches, from our parents, from our schools, seeing what we're doing right, seeing what we're doing wrong, seeing what they would rather us do, seeing what they want, and starting those changes so we can finish out the school year and then go into the next school year stronger. And that goes into summer and the next, which is our evaluation, and then just kind of restarting for the next year. Next slide, please. And so for partnership support and recruitment, what we as an organization are providing is our recruitment. We do all the background checks, we do all the training, we provide all the supplies that a match may need, such as activities, social emotional learning curriculum, things, toys, games, anything that they want, we can provide to them. The school would provide it would really just be a space and a school contact, just someone that we can coordinate with schedules, times that we could come in and present. Usually it's a school counselor, a secretary, anyone that just has access to scheduling and would be able to tell us when would be most convenient for them. We also serve as a liaison, of course, with the school. So it would be myself or another employee would be the one communicating needs, things like that, background check updates, anything like that. And then for our businesses, so that would be Fastenal in this case, they would be allowing their employees to take an hour out of their work week to come to the school. And that would be, that side of it is completely up to the business of what they would prefer, days, times like that. And then they would promote the program internally, obviously try to get mentors from the businesses to come in. And then we really want the businesses to celebrate the employee engagement because this is a big step. I mean, it's an hour out of their work week, but it's something that they don't have to do. And so we really want to focus with Fastenal on really no financial assistance from the school or from Fastenal at this exact time for the program.
Why?
Why
Why wouldn't you ask them for money?
right now,
That's in the negotiation.
yeah, just at this time, we haven't had a finalized
Okay.
number.
You're here to ask us for money, but you,
No, I'll get to that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Right.
Next slide, please. So I really want to build a program that lasts. I don't want this to be a couple-month program that ends up falling into the dust. I'm not expecting this first year to go so smoothly that this will be a perfect program that will just easily flow into the next year. It's going to be a pilot program, but I want to build something that is sustainable, that is known in the community, that is shown to benefit kids. And so a lot of that is just constant collaboration. That's a big piece of this with Fastenal, with the schools, with the county, with families. This isn't just a BBBS program, this is a community program. Everyone's input is as valuable as ours is in terms of what we're building, because this isn't just about us, it's about all factors of it. And so we are sustaining the program right now through local grants, sponsorships, corporate engagements, donations, things of that realm. And we are prioritizing mentor satisfaction, recognition, and workplace support. That is a big piece of this. Adults are very stressed, very busy lives. They might have families of their own that they have to worry about. We want to be a sounding board for them. We want them to be able to come to us and say, I really don't like this. I am mad that a family member did this. I'm mad that a school staff employee said something disrespectful, or I need help with this issue. This child said something concerning, what do I do? That's my job in all this. I want to be able to guide them so that they feel confident to give that child confidence. And then our 2026 pilot provides a blueprint for replication across additional schools. I would love to see this expand. I would love to see Leaders in Littles go into other schools with other businesses. I love the idea of starting with just one business, one school for data and evaluation purposes. But this doesn't just have to be something that is one elementary school with Fastenal. We can make this as big or as wide as we can or as we want. So, and I believe that is all that I have, I think.
Thank you.
And then that is just a little example pamphlet for marketing if we were to do some.
couple questions, I'm sure. Commissioner Helsing.
Yeah. It always reminds me of a good heifer calf makes eventually a good milk cow.
Mhm.
I'm a farm kid. So one of the questions I had was the funding aspect. That's always the difficult part. And it's good to see businesses get into play. And I'm a huge fan of private philanthropy, just government giving. And one of the big things that always scares me, and I could cite several organizations and counties much bigger than us that are realizing this. I believe the Historical Society up in Rochester is one of them that's realizing that government philanthropy is in the way of private philanthropy. People have this perception it's a government funded program, thus why do I want to give twice? So I always bring that up because I've had many conversations with people like, why don't you donate? Well, don't I already pay for that in my taxes? That's a big thing, myself included. So it brings up the point of Commissioner Ward of, where's that funding come from? So my first question was, what's Fastenal's role? They're a big player in our community. Are they able to do anything like that? And can we leverage that? Which you said you were going to do that. But one of the questions I have with that funding is how does this program work? When we ask our taxpayers to donate to something, because in essence, that's what we're doing, does it stay local? Does it go into a checking account and you can write checks out? Or is this going up to some national cause and they turn around and divvy back out what they deem necessary? Or is it that money governed locally?
It's governed locally.
Okay.
So, you know, we have to pay dues and things to our national office, but that comes out of a different pot of dollars. So if we have Winona County money coming in there, here, it stays in Winona County and we can account for that. To go back to Marcia's question about Fastenal, we're in that negotiation stage right now. And so this Friday, we actually have a meeting and it is in the presentation that eventually Fastenal will invest in this program.
Yep.
We just haven't come up with a solid amount yet. This is fairly new thing that has happened with national programs like this. You know, this is a huge investment, you know, in our youth. And so we're really looking at partnering, because we know we have Miller Mentoring. You know, I don't want to even say that we, you know, I mean, I want to bring that up. They're focused in the middle school and the high school, and we're really targeting elementary school because we do have two programs called Leaders in Littles and Leaders in Middles in Wisconsin. But we know right now with Miller Mentoring, you know, we want to partner with them, and I have been in negotiation with them too, to say if there's any crossover, you know, we're going to work together for that. But we know right now they're not in the elementary schools, and that's where we feel we can be most impactful, because we talk about that youth investment, that we're trying to prevent a lot of the stories that we heard today. And so we are going to be, you know, contacting the local foundation. We are going to be talking with Fastenal, and we're going to look at a collective effort of funding this. And 4 to 8 matches may sound small, but again, we're trying to build a solid foundation for a program that we can expand into greater amounts that will be impacted later on, because I see so many programs that come in and say, we're going to do this, and they get an influx in, and then it doesn't become sustainable. We're really trying to create a sustainable program. And that's why we have a financial plan going forward with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, working with Fastenal to make sure that this is an investment that they want to continue to do for years down the road. Does that make, hopefully that answers some of the questions.
It does, but I guess I would have to question the age for Fastenal's biggest impact. I think Fastenal is always, as a private business person, I would be looking for recruitment of workforce. And if I'm going to start with grade school kids, that's great and it's admirable, but they aren't going to be in the workforce for a long time. So I don't know if Fastenal is going to buy into that as big as if it was older kids that they could recruit into their workforce.
Absolutely. We're not talking that they cannot work with middle-aged or high school students.
But
This is a pilot project that we're starting with Leaders in Little. And again, we have been talking to them about expanding that. It's just, you know, when we do get those recruitments, or when we do get those referrals, we want to make sure that we can connect them too, because we do have the site-based program, and we have the community program, and then we have site-based plus. And so we can work with any of those kids that come in outside of that, because we know that Miller Mentoring is in the schools themselves, but working for those kids that want to have that connection outside of that. And we would use that workforce with Fastenal to also match those kids up with them. We're not excluding that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, but I can see, you know, where's their biggest gain is workforce.
Oh, absolutely. I get that.
Yeah. Commissioner Elsing.
What's the dollar? What is there an ask here?
No, and this is just a presentation.
Been funded in
Yeah.
the past. And so we're looking at sustaining that funding as an investment.
What percentage is the taxpayer funding in relationship to your budget? As in what we donate versus what? You say it stays local.
Yeah.
If we give $10,000 or whatever it might be of the taxpayers' money, what percentage of that is of your total budget?
Close to a $400,000 budget.
Yeah, haven't we done 15?
15,000.
Yeah, I arbitrarily threw a number out.
It's a small percentage, but it's still a huge impact, you know, from funding coming in from Winona County.
Yep.
It would be a huge loss to our programming, because
Commissioner Vega.
I'm sorry, do you want to finish?
No.
Okay. I love the idea of business partnerships. I hear what you're saying, Commissioner Ward, but I think it's also up to the businesses to decide what fits best. And some of the businesses actually actively encourage their employees to become involved. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but I love the idea of those partnerships. Double checking one of the numbers. You said 36 youth in Winona County. Was that since 2022 or just in the last year alone?
It would be 15 were in the last year, and then the remainder number was since 2022.
Thank you.
How many are, you said it's really the 15 are here in Winona?
Yes.
Question, what's the commitment from the adult? Is it a minimum requirement? Because you talk about the people, you know, adults burn out too. And if it isn't working, but one of the tragic things, if then that hasn't, if the adult bans the child, that has devastating circumstances a lot of times too. So what's the commitment from the adult, the mentor?
Yeah. So what we are asking for all matches, and this, it applies the same way throughout all of our programs, is we ask for 2 to 4 meetings a month. And that can be, in this case, it would just be 2 to 4 1-hour meetings a month. And that can be every other week. If they have the time and they want to go once a week, that's totally fine. Or if there is something, and we are very understanding, if something comes up, if there is something in the family or a health issue and they just couldn't meet that month, that is not something that we would hold against them personally. And we also do encourage, with parent permission, maybe just like a check-in phone call where just to say hi, like, how have you been?
Is it, and then is it for a year or 2 years, or is there,
This can go for as long as we want.
but is there a minimum?
We ask for a year commitment. It's not a contractual thing where if they break it, there's a penalty. It's just kind of like our goal essentially. There is also the opportunity with this program where this would be site-based exclusively for 3 months. And we are kind of playing with the option of, after those 3 months, switching to a site-based plus match, which is where they can meet on the school still, and they still would. But if they wanted to take a Saturday afternoon to go get lunch or something, that would be an option too. So that is where that could go into after elementary school. They could then fully transition into a community match if that bond is still there, or if all schools were okay with it, still leaving it at that site-based plus where they still have a lunch or recess buddy, but they can still build that connection outside of the school walls.
Sure. Commissioner Elton.
Have you, is the city of Winona on board with any funding?
We've not had any funding from the city.
I'm just curious, just, you know, representing the greater district and really not having any participants in the greater district, but so heavily focused in Winona. It might be something to really be focusing more on the centric aspect rather than the grand aspect, especially if there's nobody participating in the outside regions, and really laying that also on them, saying, hey, this is predominantly or 100% based coming from the city of Winona schools. So,
And again, you know, through the last few years, there hasn't been a lot of consistency, I think, in leadership, and I've been there for the last 3 years. So I'm really trying to create a different program where it is sustainable and that we're looking at this investment to grow all of our programs. I know we talked a little bit about, you know, leaders and littles, but we have a far greater reach through our other programming as well. And we are working really hard on robustly building those programs. So.
thank you.
Right, okay. I appreciate your time and effort and
Appreciate it.
coming. Thank you. Enjoy the drive back down the river.
Yeah.
Okay, 7.2, approve renewal purchase of service and business association agreements with the Family and Children's Center for Supervised Visitation. That's on page 161. I think this is one we asked for a little more,
Just because it was such a large number.
yeah. And
Thank you.
thank you.
So I did
Yeah.
note in the request for board action, the questions posed were what the rate is in 2025 and are there other vendor options? The rate is maintaining the same as it is in 2025 for 2026. And there are no other vendors in our area who provide this service.
Which is unfortunate. Yeah, and it really was kind of a, I guess, doom
I mean, if
thing
they-
to read was like, hey, there's nowhere to go with such a large expense. Very similar to the, you know, new company bringing it on the contract side for the roads. So, I mean, the good thing, we don't have a history of cost, obviously besides last year and this year, but you know, I would say it's definitely something we should be tracking just because it is such a large dollar and really hold it tight. And if we can find other ways to at least keep it in check, I guess. So
do
I
have a-
pulled this, I believe. didn't I?
Yeah, I got a question. What is under total spent? UA collections. What's a UA collection?
Urine analysis.
Oh, okay. That's not of the kid, that's the parents, right?
Actually, I believe this is the children.
Oh, the children. Okay,
Yeah.
we test them.
Yeah, if you
yes.
had a violation. Yeah.
And then funded by levy dollars. I didn't get an opportunity. How much do we have in the fund for you have GL 05430710 under funding? Is that a line item in the budget? I didn't.
Yes.
And how much is that line item? I didn't get a chance to look it up. You know, what do we project?
I can look in the budget that's in your packet.
While she's looking, I'll move to approve item 7.2.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Olson to approve the contract. And this isn't optional, unfortunately. I think it's unfortunate that we have to do these kinds of things to people who can't be responsible parents.
I'd say it's more like when the county is mandated to do things that by the state, but the state does not fund them.
Right, well, the state was funded, but again, you don't have to have a license or a contract to be a parent. It just, and we can't do that.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
For 2025, we have 375,000 in the budget.
Okay, and we spent, okay.
307.
307, so, okay, you didn't have to watch the budget. All right.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, approved.
Yeah, keep our eye on that.
Yeah, with committee reports, Commissioner Vagley.
First of all, yesterday was Veterans Day. Excuse me. I and a couple of the teachers took over 300 students down to the community program at Veterans Memorial Park. It's one day late, but to any veterans who are watching or the family of veterans members, thank you for your service, past service or current service. Shelters, homeless shelters. I want to give a couple different updates. So in Winona County, there's only homeless shelters in the city of Winona. Tonight, there is going to be, so there's a day center, a day shelter in the overnight shelter. Last April, we heard about the need to move one and then the summer to move the second one. The normal season for the overnight shelter runs November 1st to March 31st. There's been a delay with city of Winona building, zoning issues and other things. But tonight, this is good news. The overnight shelter, which is a temporary facility at Wesley United Church, is going to open. It's going to be expanded hours. It's going to run from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. at Wesley United Church. And that's basically to get through this winter and this cold season. So it's very exciting that that is going to happen. The day center has been open since roughly for almost 2 weeks now, et cetera. About a week and a half ago, there were 2 volunteer training nights and almost 70 people roughly signed up to become volunteers. For the first time in many years, there is now more community members involved as volunteers. There's a 16-person steering committee. We've had meetings every Monday night, and there's never been less than 10 people at one of these meetings. So I'm very excited to see community members becoming more involved again and more of a partnership, more of a balance between paid staff and having a lot more community volunteers. So sharing some good news is that tonight, for the first time, there is going to be an overnight shelter in the city of Winona and the only one in Winona County. Some other really exciting news, because of the increased involvement of volunteers, there's 3 things that have never happened before with the shelters. There's now 3 meals provided a day that never happened before. There's 24-hour coverage through the winter. That's never happened before. And because increased volunteers means less money for staff can be stretched further, with the less staff, there's going to be a case manager working as well with people in or near the shelter, actively working with them to get them access to services and hopefully move them on to different stages of their life. So those are 3 really positive. There's been some hiccups and some difficulty working through building zoning issues, fire code, ADA, and all those things. The city has been great to work with. There's a lot of stuff to work through, but the really exciting news, first time ever, 24-hour coverage, 3 meals a day, and now a case manager proactively trying to get people more than was already being done, in touch with wraparound services as well. So
Thanks for your work with this.
Question, how do the participants learn about this?
it's mainly through word of mouth. So word travels mainly through, so the guests, hopefully there have been some stories in the newspaper, but hopefully it'll probably be mainly through word of mouth. And I'll talk some more about that a little bit later. Last thing, number 3, last month I double checked about this month's meetings and how the reason we moved this meeting. So December, just double checking it for the public to know. In December, we flip-flop the day and evening meetings, right? And the first meeting is on a Thursday night, is that correct?
December 11th.
Yep.
Right.
So
It's a Thursday.
Ninth. Why did I have the ninth in my 11th? Yeah, it's that Thursday, for the second
night.
Thursday.
Yes.
Yes, okay,
And then the last meeting of the month will be the morning meeting, correct?
Yes.
right.
I just wanted to confirm that. And just to remind the public for your.
It was the 9th and it moved to the 11th.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, all right.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Elsing.
Making sure my phone is correct.
Yeah,
Good, we want you here.
Last one is the 23rd
Correct.
Yeah,
in the morning.
yeah.
The day before.
Yeah.
that's a big one though.
That's the big one. We'll do 9 o'clock there. Good to go. That means our road and bridge committee meeting is still Tuesday the 9th.
I'm not 100% sure.
So let's maybe talk to Dave.
Dave and-
Because originally we had
Dave was-
scheduled the same day as the board
Mhm.
meeting. So if there's any update to that, we might want to handle that. Just give us an email because it'll be Commissioner Ward and myself, obviously. A few things on my end. Yeah, Veterans Day, just wonderful to, proud to know that I actually employ several veterans and just want to thank everybody who's a veteran for their service, both now and in the past. The other thing I wanted to bring up is farming safety. Harvest is just about done. Yesterday I was out in South Dakota, I'll be out in Nebraska, Iowa. There's still a fair amount of corn out there, but I would say we're, probably 90% wrapped up. Depending on some wet situations, but, I haven't heard any major incidents this year, especially in Winona County. It's actually been a pretty safe harvest. Usually every year we tend to have at least one incident. So this year, that was good to hear. And then, I just wanted to allude to Commissioner Bagley's point that public awareness about philanthropy is huge. And I think what happens over time is that the awareness of it diminishes. So we turn to the taxpayer. And because we need to keep these programs going somehow. So thank you for your efforts to do what you're doing. And it goes to show where my biggest fear is when government gets involved. I'll stand behind this. Public philanthropy diminishes, private philanthropy diminishes, excuse me. So and thank you to everybody that's stepping up to help out. And it's good to see, communities organized like that. So that's it for me.
All right. 2 things. I failed in public comment. We had a letter and we'll make sure that everyone gets a copy of this from Judge Storino about the treatment court and her participation. She is the main treatment court judge now. And it's a lengthy letter, so we will make sure everybody gets a copy, and we want to acknowledge that she does support it. And she's covering that role as the treatment court judge. I would like to request a follow-up, and probably needs to be a closed session with the first gentleman that spoke to us, because we have gotten a lot of letters and emails and I don't understand. And his accusations of some of our other elected officials is disturbing. But I think we need to take appropriate action, and we need to know what that action is if we need to do anything. So if we could schedule, I guess I'll ask if anybody else, if we could schedule some type of closed session to be knowledgeable of what our role is in all that and his accusations.
I you get some of these things and you don't understand exactly what's going on till you ask the questions, but is there a need to move forward with anything?
No.
Well, but I would still like to know what, I mean, he made some pretty specific allegations in his
I
letters.
don't
and-
disagree. My question is it knowledge based that we need to call some sort of a closed session? Or is it a need to know, nice to know? Does it involve us as county board members to generate, produce a result, start an action?
It does not. However, if you would like a brief closed session to bring you up to speed, go over.
Is it something we
everything.
can do in a confidential email? Is it something we can be
You could meet one-on-one, which is
meet
what.
one-on-one?
Yep.
I've spoken with two different people that were mentioned in the letters. I feel comfortable, but I'll support the request to have.
Yeah,
think we
I'm
should
not
all keep it
supporting or
safe.
not. I just want to, I don't want to overstep anything.
Right,
And
right.
open up a can.
Yep.
That now we can't go back down. Do you see where I'm going?
But I would like us all to have the same information at the same time. One-on-one, we get different.
Only legally have closed sessions for certain reasons. Does this qualify?
It does not,
yeah.
in my opinion, because unless you're going to discuss personnel performance
Well, it's been raised
or
as,
litigation.
it's been raised as a question, so.
Ms. Solomon?
I would be concerned to have a closed session on this because he has raised publicly a lot of allegations.
Right.
And I think it would be more appropriate to have a confidential email sent
Okay.
to each of you from administration. I have provided my information to Mr. Sadler. And, you know, and at some point, but I agree, it's not, well, first of all, I would say, yes, the board needs to know what a response is to this allegation.
Well, if you can start with a confidential email, that's step
Okay.
one. Because I personally, when somebody contacts me, I almost always, I try as a rule to react and respond to them. And I don't know what to say and not say to react and acknowledge, because he indicated nobody had contacted him. And I find that irresponsible on my part, but I don't know what.
Well, and I
Yes,
have not,
do.
he has not sent me anything. So
Okay.
I don't know what letters, all these 17 or whatever.
I just want to make
So-
sure if it's as serious as what it's the limited information I have, that whatever procedure we do is the correct procedure. So we don't open up a can and get painted into the wall because we did something,
Yes.
did or didn't do something either way. So I just want to make sure that we're crossing Ts and dotting Is rather than just jumping in and now all of a sudden we've got this closed session and now we got to expose that.
Yep.
It could create a snowball.
Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
just
Start
please
with-
guide us in the proper thing. And if there's something there, great. Or so be it. If there's nothing there, great. And off we go.
Well,
I will.
I can understand it and I can respect that, but part of his concern is that, okay, you're asking the people he's accusing to advise you. That's a little slippery slope too. I mean, he brought it up, so,
We've consulted others,
okay.
so.
Okay, and then you can put that in the email now,
Right,
okay, because
right.
I'm out in the dark. I don't know what's going on, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll buy that for now, not to say we won't come back to it. All right, thank you. And you talk about veterans, it was, yes, appreciate veterans considerably. Both my father and my father-in-law were veterans and very proud of that. And so yesterday I stopped at Southwind Orchards. It's my little apple orchard down in Dakota Valley. And they're closing up. They have a little resale store. And they said, here, we got just a few bags of apples. Do you know any veterans? I said, well, yes, I do. I can go see John and I know some. They said, please take these apples and make sure the veterans get them. So I thought that was very kind of Southwind. I'll give them a plug. So they're closing shop today, so you can't go buy apples. But next year, think of Southwind Orchard. They've made a huge investment in their orchard, which a lot of orchards around here are really probably laying dormant, which is unfortunate. And they have done a nice job. So I'm going to take apples to the veterans officer. And they're Pixie Crunch, and they're a really great new apple in the neighborhood. So people are thinking of the veterans, and I greatly appreciate the veterans. Okay, that being the end of our business.
Move to adjourn.
Do I have?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a question.
Yes.
So item 10.1, Was that skipped or was that what you
We aren't
discussed?
there yet. We're
not
to the
there
board.
yet.
Oh, we're
regular
gonna
meeting.
adjourn and then we're gonna come.
Committee of the board.
Oh, committee.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
coming up.
We're gonna take a
Okay,
bathroom
sorry.
break.
Okay.
Okay, we have did we have a motion?
I move to
Meyer
adjourn.
to adjourn, second, but Delsey, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, adjourn. We'll take a 5-minute break, please. Contrib- And I'm not sure who's gonna.
Miss
this?
Maureen, should I start or do you want? to?
Yes, no, go ahead.
So I am going to start with a question. I'm not sure how much how much information I should share, because I do realize, Maureen, you shared the process, and I understand for this to be an official request at a normal business meeting, there needs to be a Winona County request for funds form filled out, right? And that has to come from the agency that's requesting it. So how I view this discussion is, I want to see if it's even something the board would consider during these tough budget times, before I asked very busy people with limited time to go through all of this paperwork. And what I'm going to ask the board to do is to consider a shift in our limited county resources. I'm going to upset Commissioner Elsie here in a minute. The county board has never given a penny to any of the homeless shelters. And they've been in existence for about 8 years. But in fairness, these shelters have never asked for direct funding, et cetera. But I've seen what a little bit of government do, and they're facing reductions from the state and federal level, especially the state level. So what I would like to ask, so I'm going to walk through a proposal, and I realize this is not a normal business meeting, but what I'd like to do is focus on the core functions of the county, which is public welfare and public safety. So I'm going to talk about programs, the other outside agencies, specifically tourism. We currently allocate $1,000 to tourism. We currently allocate $6,000 to the Southeast Minnesota Initiative Fund. And then I would also like to talk about, so what I'd like to do is reallocate the funds from those two. And I'm a strong believer in economic development. Since we started funding those many years ago, we developed an economic development authority. So I feel like that we're doing due diligence in terms of economic development. And I was very supportive of the EDA when it was formed. And economic development is important, but in terms of the core functions of the county, public welfare, public safety, I think that homeless shelters, the only ones in the county, are a high priority. So what I'd like to propose, and this can come at this discussion could lead to being moved to a normal business meeting, to completely shift the 1,000 from tourism, the 6,000 from Southeast Minnesota Initiative Fund, and I can type this up later for people. And then from Big Brothers Big Sisters to take 8,000 from that 15,750 allocation and allocate it towards this. I'm a fan, a supporter of Big Brothers Big Sisters, but like they just mentioned, it's been a program that's been going through some change, and we currently have Miller Mentoring, and they mentioned Miller Mentoring. If I wouldn't suggest a decrease in a program if there wasn't another program already providing those services. I see Miller Mentoring in action often, et cetera. So what I'm trying to do is come up with a proposal to fund for the first time ever $15,000 a year, but it's not in new money, it's shifting existing money. So that's what I want to see if the rest of the board would entertain that. And then I would then go to Catholic Charities to say, I think it's worth your time at least to try it. We can't guarantee that will happen, because that Catholic Charities is one office that serves 20 counties from Wisconsin to South Dakota. And they have over 20 different programs that they run. So before I ask them to go through all the paperwork and et cetera, I just want to know if it's even worth their time to do it. And again, I'm strong support of economic development, but in these tough times, I want to shift the focus to public welfare. Focus on this. And I'm anticipating a question from Commissioner Elsie, like what percentage of the overall budget? $15,000. I don't know the exact total budget. Those, because of the freezes and the cuts in grants not being awarded, et cetera, I think it'd probably be less than 5% of the overall budget, et cetera. But it would provide, and I could when they submit the request, what's the form? Winona County request for funds, I would ask them to label like what those funds could be used for. It's just for general support of the shelters, specifically and especially because they're looking at developing wraparound services to help people move out of shelters, move into shelters out of businesses and down, in the backs of old semi trailers or whatever, then visit a shelter and then get them moved on to the next level.
So our process is that you get a second and then
Comes here.
you come here. Then if three people want to support the complete conversation, then that happens. It could happen here or at a board meeting. So this is the number 2 conversation, not the final one.
Right.
So I don't know that I support the exact proposal that you have laid out, but I would support being one of 3 commissioners wanting to have, a conversation to decide if we should.
That could be up fine.
And what other options there are, because I know we had asked about some of the SAHA money. Whether, because that's can be used for emergency shelter, could 15,000 of that be used?
Sure.
So I'd at least support that conversation.
Right. I would support a further conversation.
I have to look at what benefit, this is a very city-centric mission. So I have Lewiston, I have Dakota, Dresbach, Utica, and so what benefit, other than that big philosophical, well, we're taking care of the poor, what benefit does it have for them versus possibly, the Southeast Minnesota or the tourism or anything? Is there benefit to my constituents? I would really struggle to support it at that level. And is Catholic Charities stepping up now? It seems like they were I was told they were part of the problem at one time, as far as the decrease in volunteers. And now these other churches are they, they're faith-based, and that's great. And that's probably part of a church's mission, to do these things. Maybe some type of matching from the city of Winona. Again, you're asking for a small subset within the whole county to take this on. And I don't know how I would tell my farmers who are struggling to make enough money harvesting their crop to pay for somebody else's, and when they're struggling themselves.
I hear you. I can just quickly respond is that it's the only shelter in the county. If there were shelters in St. Charles or Lewiston, that would be a different thing. But I think it's the only and people tend to move towards gravitate towards that. Catholic Charities, I hear what you're saying. There's a new executive director and he's fantastic. We've had meetings at 4 different locations and 3 of them have been churches. The day center is at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. The Reverend John Spinella there, he's fantastic. The overnight shelter will be at Wesley United Methodist Church. We've also had meetings at St. Casimir's Church. That's a different, longer story, et cetera, but a number of different churches. And next week, I and a small group of people will be going to Pleasant Valley Church to talk about developing volunteers there as well. We're reaching out to pockets of people. We've had 2 large meetings. Now we're going to start going out to individual churches to try to develop more volunteers. The more that the community is involved, the better this will be.
So if I see 2 law enforcement people that live in the city of St. Charles, so if there was a St. Charles citizen that was homeless, they could come access all these services if they could get here. There's no restriction, Commissioner Vagley.
Right, and actually, I think sometimes the police act as a default Uber for people who are either on the edge or facing homelessness or on the edge of committing some kind of crime to transport them if there are shelters.
Well, the sheriff's office gets calls once in a while that there's somebody, maybe in need of help out on a highway.
Yep.
And the last thing we want to see is them between Lewiston and Winona, or
Yep.
Lewiston and St. Charles. So we give them a ride to a closest place they can get shelter.
Yep. And
But I guess I would like to see more of a commitment out of the city of Winona.
I hear you. I view the county's primary function as public safety and public welfare. The city, I think, has a focus on economic development. That's something we can just talk about later too. I hear what you're saying.
I think they gave their SAHA money to them.
I don't know that.
I think
I'm
they
not
did. That's based on the letter that Jason Dykus sent.
Oh, okay. Michelle, same thoughts?
It's a hard sell. I've actually brought this up to a lot of people and, you know, I think I can come up with one person that I know in my district that I've heard about. Is it a county problem? Is it a local city problem? I'm gonna lean towards a local city, and then I also go back to private and public philanthropy. And here we are, we got a lot of traction behind it, and now we're gonna go step in and say, here, let us fund it, which turns around, and today it looks good. But what happens tomorrow when that starts to die down because that's not happening? And then the next ask a few years from now will be, well, geez, guys, we can't shut this down. Now we need to fund it more. Now we need to have a coordinator. We have to support it. It snowballs. And so I would do everything we could for the time being to keep it in the private sector. It seems like we have a lot of very good traction there. And I think last case should be going out and demanding it from taxpayers and saying, you will do this. Because I got to go back to those people and say, hey, is there a need in our area to do that? So Commissioner Olson, is there something funny or what?
No, what's funny is that we're having a conversation when it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering if there's something I missed. Yeah. Yeah, so you wanted my opinion, that's my opinion, it's not on the agenda. But, you know, so to get my support, there's gonna have to be, I'm gonna have to hear a lot more from my constituents, because I actually have brought this up. Yeah, they all kind of laughed at it and said, we have a problem, and I said, apparently.
Minister Hulting.
So prior to the meeting, I did ask Ms. Sonneman for legal review of whether this is something the board can do.
And it's,
Because we have
It's
a
a gray area,
policy,
my-
there's a timeline.
Yes.
Does this commit us to opening it up to all organizations to make a request mid-year? I
Yeah.
just wanted Ms. Sonneman to give you
Opens
some
up a
legal
pretty big
advice.
can of worms.
Yeah, I mean, what,
and it
what,
does, to me, it doesn't meet the muster. If we got a process, we put that process for a reason, and now we're trying to circumvent the process.
I don't know, I mean, we're looking at the 2026 budget, I apologize.
No,
but-
but, yeah.
Well, but
Oh, I don't
they
know.
missed the deadline for, they haven't, we
Application
haven't
for
seen
that?
an application,
No.
what they refer to as an
the board
application.
has done supplemental things in the past, as I remember, for certain things, like up in St. Charles in the food bank. But,
That
you
was
do have
prior
a
to the
pretty,
policy, though.
yeah, you do have a pretty extensive, list there of all the outside agencies, and this would be considered, I mean, I'm not sure how they're organized, Commissioner Vaguely, but this would be an outside kind of agency group, so, and if they've incorporated or anything like
It'd
that.
be
or
through Catholic
foundation-
Charities.
Catholic Charities, okay.
They're the financial
Yeah,
umbrella.
so I mean, it would have to be reviewed for whether it does serve a public purpose, so. So I think it, you know, the individual case, so.
Mhm.
Okay,
So
so Ms.
again,
Hulting, what do
I'm
you
not
need
saying
from us?
Can't do it. I
Right.
just wanted legal advice because of what we have in the policy.
Right.
Yeah, and I would like a little more information about, you know, kind of the structure. I know, Commissioner Vaguely had come to my church to, because we had an event, where we heard about, various programs, including
Shelters.
the shelters, and, it's a great collaborative of folks, but legally, we need to know what, you know, what's the ultimate, you know.
I'm sorry to say,
Who
Dwayne,
signs the papers?
you have a very big heart and compassion on this, but when they see you walk in the door, I think they see a source of revenue because you represent the county. And I know you say you don't represent the county, even the letter to the editor says you don't represent the county, it's your own thing, but I'm sorry, people see that through that lens, so.
I would like
You
to
have to be
revisit
careful.
it through the lens of the Saha money, which we talked about earlier, whether that's possible and like legally, is that even possible? And then do you advise it or not?
Yeah, and
But the Saha money, that may be another pot, but there again, is a homeless shelter affordable housing? Saha was supposed to be create.
It is
they're
allowed
affordable.
for emergency housing.
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
what-
but I mean,
for
again, is it
emergency housing.
emergency housing forever? There,
Depends if they're, you know.
it's a whole nother subject. Okay, all right, so I guess you got three
So
that want to
Bring
talk
it
about
back
it
for
more.
discussion.
And
And could we
again,
get
I
more
would just
information
caution
on the-
Commissioner
we'll work
Vaguely
with
to be
Commissioner
careful
Vaguely.
Or the
what these
structure
people
of it,
see you
yeah.
as.
Then I can do more.
Not a question of, to me, this isn't a, yes, I definitely discussed the topic. It's not that you don't want to help people. The line becomes, forcefully taking it from people to fund something versus willingly giving it up to help a cause. That's the line between government and private philanthropy. There's a force and then there's simply an ask. And so that's where it becomes an issue for me.
Commissioner Bagley, if we could work with you to get more information so Ms. Sonneman can give us an opinion.
Is this fund easy, the form? Or can you
Yes,
update?
it's online, but we also emailed it to the applicable agencies, but we can email it to
Please,
the
if you could, thank you.
representative.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Heidi, is Sam in today or one of the IT guys that can help me out? My computers, is she listening?
No. No, I'm sure they are up and down too.
That's fine.
Okay, so you got on 10.1, 10.2 then.
I can't get in my email again.
Yeah,
Just-
so we have the 3 meeting process. So this would be
Yep.
the second meeting. So I'm looking for, to see if there are 3 commissioners who would be interested in,
Yeah, already said. you-
talking about a donation, a special donation because of the government shutdown and the November shut off of SNAP to volunteer services and to the,
Oh, are you talking 10.2 now?
yep,
Oh,
10.2.
okay.
Yeah. Now,
Okay,
so
that's been solved though, hasn't it?
has it?
Well,
The
it's supposed to
Supreme
be-
Court did another stay, but we don't know if it's going to get clawed back or not, and when will the government open. And so if those things happen and it is solved, then at the next meeting, we can just say, never mind. But if it's not, I'm wondering if we have 3 votes to potentially make a contribution.
Absolutely. And like you said, hopefully it'll be worked out. And then it'll be unnecessary, but this is a big.
What's
thing
your definition of worked out? Because
that
I have a
the
feeling
SNAP
you
benefit-
people would give them
No, the SNAP
more
benefits that
and.
will be allowed and will be continued, et cetera.
My worst case
And
scenario
the
is
program is?
our benefit monthly is about $440,000. The state of Minnesota issued it.
Mhm.
The USDA said, no, you have to take it back. The state says, we don't have a process to take it back.
Mhm.
I hope we don't get stuck with the bill.
Well, we'll just say we
Or a
don't.
penalty.
the checks in the mail. Yeah.
Right.
So this on again, off again, just is one more thing that creates uncertainty for Winona
And
County's
hopefully
budget
by
Monday.
2 weeks from now,
It'll be resolved.
We hope so.
Okay, all right, so we got,
So I heard
That's-
2. Greg, yes?
Are you guys open to it?
I'm always open to a discussion for the most part.
yeah, well, I'm optimistic that it'll get solved.
I hope so.
All right, then moving in, are we good on that?
Yes,
All right.
okay with me.
All right, working session, discussion of the 2026 draft budget.
Now for the fun stuff.
Right.
What we've all been waiting for.
Okay. So if you can take some
Okay,
pass on.
I gotta get this working because I don't have anything in front of me. I can't get back into my email. What's that?
I sent Heidi a text.
Okay. Yeah, it decided to restart and now I
Oh.
can't get back. I'll just wait. Okay, thank you. Can't get back in.
Otherwise, we could get you paper copies, maybe.
Oh, that's a lot of trees.
Is this different than what we've seen
Yes,
before?
Yeah.
we'll
There was-
touch base on this. So this is a document that will reflect what we know about 2027's budget need.
Okay, this is different than what you've
So
shown.
what we
It's
don't,
not in the packet. This is the new document.
Okay,
And again, we'll get to that in a little bit. Commissioner Ellison, do you desire us to wait a couple minutes? You
Go
okay?
I have no idea why
All right.
if it's not this, it's this. If it's this, it's that.
That'll be 2 months ago. Is there a page you want us, or you want us on this hard copy?
Either way.
it'd be 213 through 214.
Yeah.
19 or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, something like that.
So we'll start on page 213. So the intent is to give an update on the 2026 budget status and where we're at. In the memo, we go through the key drivers that are pushing the levy. I'm going to quickly touch on some of those. If you have questions, please let me know. Health insurance is a key driver. We have open enrollment through November
I want it
19th.
back. I made a copy. of it.
We won't know how many people may opt the new plans and what that means for our contributions until after that.
But we will know at our next meeting.
We should have a good idea. I might not have all the numbers yet because that's a pretty quick turnaround to get the data crunched. However, we'll do our best. But we're hoping that we have some people opt the new plans. Negotiations are underway in regards to the contribution of the employees towards the Minnesota paid family leave. So that'll just take some time. We'll refine the budget when we get some of those resolved.
But what, we're not debating the contribution, are we 50-50?
Well, it's negotiable.
Well, are we?
So we may have
Not-
a, we may
No,
have
it's
a
not
reduction.
negotiable.
We may have a reduction in our share.
We have to fully fund it until we negotiate otherwise. It's a negotiable item with the collective bargaining groups. So,
But I'm not willing to negotiate.
No, it might go down
50-50.
and you want to
I
negotiate then.
understand that.
What do you mean, that they would pay more? Is that
well,
what you're-
that they're gonna pay the half.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That, for me,
Yeah.
that,
I understand, but we still have to
That's
negotiate.
that's what we did. My
Yeah.
employees pay half, we
Yeah.
pay half.
yeah.
We're trying to negotiate that. It could reduce what the possible.
What's in the budget.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean you
Yeah.
put the full amount in
Yeah.
the
Yes,
budget?
and I-
Okay,
yeah.
okay, now, okay, yeah. But I mean, I'm not
It's a good
willing to
thing,
negotiate.
Commissioner Ward. It's a good thing.
Well, it is, but it's misleading.
Okay,
It's
I
one of
know.
those, it's misleading,
Better than
putting the whole chunk in there. No, it's misleading.
Well, you have to
Wanna-
budget because you don't know
that's
what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But
Right.
our hopes is that it goes no different than us when they looked at raises. I'd tell the employees, well, I'm sorry, you're out 0.5% because you received the benefit.
Yeah, I have a different
Whatever.
mindset on them.
Rather had the 1%.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we're still reviewing capital request. As of right now, it still is what's represented in the packet with the SNAP administration costs. So after further analysis with that, we had about 240,000, if I recall correctly, in the budget, and we looked at the timing. We looked at the timing of when the payments are hitting Winona County. And so we're really gonna see about $25,000 difference
Better.
versus 240, which is a good thing for Winona County. But it doesn't change what we anticipate as our total amount for the next year of 2027, which is 800,000.
That's because of a shift at the federal government to make the states pay a higher part of the administrative. And because Minnesota is one of 12 states where the counties administer it, that's a
Yes.
shift from the federal government to the county.
But also 10% of the benefit itself.
Yes.
That's a bigger number
Yes.
Say again, I didn't hear, you said 10%.
of the benefit itself.
Oh.
So if we get 440,000 a month, 10% of that, we have to now pay, and that's based on the statewide error rate.
Yes.
the
Um,
federal government.
Yeah.
mhm.
So that's like
Well, I
over a $500,000 a year.
think we
Yeah.
do a lot of community gardens and let them grow it.
The Larry Hill Reform Act, I'm further analyzing that, but we're gonna need to put something in the budget. I just haven't come up with a dollar amount, so right now, we're still looking at that 150,000. Personnel changes and savings, just to note that again, the budget has already been reduced by the 4.8 FTEs, which is approximately 480,000. We are doing a soft hiring freeze, evaluating all vacancies and the potential hiring of those.
But you say a reduction in 4.8, is that truly people employed currently, or is that just what
Vacant.
people are asking for?
No.
Vacant positions.
Vacant positions that we have made the decision to
Not-
eliminate.
Okay, and could you provide us what those positions are?
You might recall you asked this last time, and
Yep.
Mr. Sadler shared that he's giving up part of a position. in
Right, but I think one of the, comes to mind, we
There's
tried to
four-
hire that highway
Yep.
design.
There's
Is that,
4 questions that I sent to Maureen when this came out, and that was one of them. She has that information.
Mhm.
I said, what, and she has that.
okay.
Yep.
Well, like the one
The
was that
one-
highway engineer type of position that we were thinking of doing. Is that
It's
still on
not
the
one
table?
of them that is part of the 4.8.
Okay, all right. Well,
The
if you can
4.8 is, 0.8 is account specialist in finance. 1 FTE is the HR specialist in human resources. 1 FTE is the environmental services supervisor. 0.6 is a household hazardous waste, part-time assistant. And the equivalent of 1.4 transport officers. Those are the ones that we have reduced.
Okay, thank you.
And that is reflected in the numbers. We are planning a turnover savings of 500,000. And so that includes the soft freeze, the savings from the soft freeze.
Okay.
Okay. There are no new positions in the budget, even though we do have knowledge of potentially needing to hire due to the changes with SNAP and the, I call it the act.
The act, yeah.
In human services.
Well, with
Um,
those, is there gonna be, especially this act, it's monumental, it's a high driver. We got a lot of smaller counties around us. Is there potential to share, if there's a certain expertise needed in that position, is there potential to share an employee with some of our smaller counties?
Isn't it 3 positions?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I would go one step further and just say postpone it for a while, not have
Well-
to do it until they let the bigger counties figure it out.
Yeah,
because
they're
there's
supposed to
no
be-
way that we can.
Legally, we are required to do it. We just,
There are-
we just won't have the staff to
Unless
do
they
it.
change.
Yeah, they may
They
change
need to
it.
change.
I'm
That would be
hoping
great.
that's
We'll
what's
lobby
gonna
for it.
That's an
happen.
unfunded mandate.
Yeah.
That's
For
right.
sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
either fund it or take it off our back.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
We
Yes.
totally agree with you.
Yeah.
That's why I think all 5 of us could send a clear message to our state legislators, fund it or kill it.
The problem with it is they'll fund it for a while, get it up
Yeah.
and going, then they
comes
pull it.
back.
It's just the classic over and over and over, they do that. And it sounds so good when it's funded. Why not?
Yeah, well, it's not that it's a bad thing to do.
I'm not saying it's a
just
bad
that
thing
if
to
you
do,
want
it's just,
To do it, fun.
I don't care if it's saving turtles. When you pass the expense down to us, and granted, I still say it this way, the left pocket's the state, the right pocket's the county, and the back pockets are federal. You're paying for it one way or the other.
Right, and it's even almost mislabeled. It says, I hate, Minnesota African American. Well,
Yeah.
it's much more broader than just that
Be most of
population.
our
Yeah,
child protection.
yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
for rural America, rural Minnesota, it's kind of people are thinking it doesn't affect us, but it does, because we don't have a
Right.
large,
But later on, when the next session starts, let's do it. Definitely a
Or-
tag
Yep,
team
happy
that.
to do that. Yeah,
Yep.
I would be happy to join on the letter.
well, we can tell Senator Drazkowski we'll take on the rifles and shotguns, but you take care of the children.
I would just like to note, this is a give and
Yeah,
take
free
session,
form.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
You're
So
entitled.
Minnesota County Attorneys Association, at our last meeting, we voted to support a delay in the implementation of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it was affecting, well, everybody, but
Mhm.
particularly the outstate counties. So we've got our lobbyist working.
Thank you.
And those
Yeah.
counties that have tribes in them, it's huge.
Huge, right.
The number of people, it
Yeah.
is huge.
So I think there's a real push to say, whoa, slow this down.
Well, and it's ironic that they picked Ramsey and
Hennepin.
Hennepin.
Hennepin to do the pilot. That's not a true pilot. That is not, it was poor picking of who's the pilot in this. Yeah. Okay.
So then, to touch base on the outside agencies, I am asking that the board discuss, the potential of reducing the total allocations by 150,000. Namely to help us meet the direction desired of the board, and that's to get closer to the single digit, levy request. I don't know if you'd like to pause there and have that dialogue, or if you'd like me to continue through the memo.
Well,
I'll just,
go
I
ahead.
mean, I'll just start by saying that 150,000 out of what we can, when you take out the statutory requirement for Selco, is 30% of the entire budget. I can't see doing that. It's not. I don't think I can go for it. No,
Say again, 30% of
the entire budget.
the 722,000?
No, the 525.
525. to take 150,000 out of that is 30%.
Oh,
29%
30% of that. I see
Yeah,
where
I
you're-
can't see doing that.
Well, so here, above that though, you've got the second bullet. Requests are made now as all of, but two entities are contractual agreements. So what two are not contractual agreements?
Historical Society and I believe the fair.
They are contractual agreements, right?
All the rest of them are via contract.
Oh.
Those two are not.
Those two are not, because statutorily you can
Oh,
give
yeah.
to them.
Mhm.
The others, we have to have a contract to do it.
Well, I hate to bring it up again, but I've had a number of people ask me, project fine, 45,000. It's unclear if that's 45 and then you work down on interpretive services, or is that just a gift 45? Because we've spent project fine, we probably paid them like $95,000 last year, one of the last couple of years. We pay them a lot more than that. So it's unclear if that 45 is actually, $100 an hour for interpretive service and they work down that, and then the other stuff is other areas of the government.
Can you provide that for us?
I most certainly can.
I think we've had this discussion, but it still is unclear how the billing is and what, and I I see Mr. Kramer, and I don't know if you're still on the board. I think Project Fine has over $1 million in reserves, a nest egg. Now, what their plan with that is, I do not know. They do great work. I'm not saying they're not good, and they do great work and everything. But we've got more and more electronic devices that can do interpretive services. You get, apps that interpret. Now, I don't know if it's more interpreting or is it advocating. And again, if they've got $1 million in a reserve nest egg, that's a lot of money. And Dave, I don't know if you can answer it, if you're still on the board or what, but that is one that comes up. And if we need to do some trimming.
I am still on the board. There are reserves that Project Fine has. The intent is to be able to continue to provide services and be financially viable, knowing that sometimes the grant funding that the organization uses can be sporadic, especially when there's, for example, a downturn in the stock market. The foundations tend to kind of pull back that provide funding. Similar to Winona County having reserves as basically a financial best practices, so does Project Fine. It's my understanding that the services that are identified in the budget or the dollar amount is things that the county is required to do and is having Project Fine do, so it's paying for them. If you remove that from the budget, you're going to need to provide those services anyway. That's my understanding.
But if if it states here that they're under contract, then again, is the contract going down working off every time you take something off the 40,000, when it gets to zero, are we renegotiating the contract or what? Because I've seen in the budget, we've paid them, like I say, someone pointed out, and I think I even saw, like $95,000 last year.
That part I'm not.
I don't know. and I think Ms.
That
Holt-
part I'm not familiar with. I do know that Project Fine goes after grants for specific programs.
Yes.
And in my time on the board there, I don't recall ever seeing Winona County being identified as a grant source for a program that Project Fine does. That's not the case. There's Blue Cross Blue Shield Foundation, Bremer Foundation, places like that.
Mhm, sure. Well, no, Fatima's done a marvelous job. I mean, she turned that organization. I remember when it was, a closet in the in the building across the way and really struggled. I mean, she's a very smart, business orientated.
She does an excellent
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
She's a really
She's
good.
got this $1 million tucked away. And I guess, for us, again, if we're looking at areas that we can maybe trim back, that's one that constituents have brought up.
We'll find the answer to that question.
Yeah.
And share it with all of us.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks, Dave.
I'm just gonna add to what Chris said is, I don't foresee, you're asking about recommending cutting 150,000 from that discretionary expenditures. I am open to cutting 15,000 to reassign those funds possibly to shelter. But we don't have to do that.
Kind
Baja
of you.
funds would be a different way. Furthermore, I want to keep the funding and I want to honor the SWCD's request for 11,750. I think that that amount can be found in other places in the budget. I understand that there's a need to continue to get more savings. I'm also speaking for myself. Regrettably, this is a very serious issue. It's tough times for farmers who are paying the price of a trade war. Tariffs come with a price. Import taxes create.
That's not what's doing it.
Reciprocity, and China stops buying soybeans, and it's a tough commodity market right now for sure. But I actually don't feel a need to get down under. I would be comfortable speaking for myself only with that very big number of 12.49. So that's speaking for myself only, because these programs, most of them are preventative. It's penny wise and pound foolish for many of these, but I would support the one increase in supporting the one request for SWCD. Again, that's providing aid and support to our rural residents and farmers. And if you avoid that, if you take that away, it just creates bigger problems, bigger expenses later on. So I have other parts of the budget I'd like to revisit for savings, but speaking of outside expenditures for myself only, other than the possibility of reallocating, I don't foresee reducing $150,000. Freezing, yes, but not reducing.
Sheriff sitting here, Humane Society, isn't that a contract for any, again, did we spend $20,000 taking care of stray cats and dogs? Isn't that when you get some problem animal that?
We don't know how much the budget has been 20,000.
Right, but I don't think we spend anywhere near that, do we? So do they get the question then is asked, do they get the 20,000 regardless? Or is it truly a contract?
It's
Right.
it's up to.
Did not know that.
Yeah, so, but do we have a history of what we have paid out the last couple years?
We could run a report.
Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe.
I have the last 2 years that I ran.
So maybe we can downsize that. Again, we said these are supposed to have a specific, request, which they have, and then they're supposed to tell us specifically what they're doing with our money. Detail funding, and details of the funding used and what anticipated outcomes are. So, let's see. Well, the Senior Advocacy Center, City of Winona, again, I think that's very city orientated.
No, they do everyone throughout the county, and they've given us in the past the several thousand out of the city clients that they serve.
Right, but that's $50,000. I mean, again, have we gotten a breakdown? All these organizations are supposed to be reporting to the state of Minnesota. If they're 501(c)(3)s, there's a
I don't
reporting
think that is,
mechanism.
because that's a city of Winona.
There is a requirement if they fall under that statute. And I'm not asking for new information, just if they have to file a copy of that, then we should get that copy too.
Could we ask the city for their statistics?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thanks.
I mean, that's easily done. It's not anything new. Same way with volunteer services. What exactly, what's the breakdown? And, actually, all of them on the list. Again, if they're falling under that 501(c), and maybe I've got it wrong, maybe there's so many numbers, but there are state requirements.
But IRS 994, yes, to all those things if you want that information.
Yeah.
But the Senior Advocacy Center, it's not a nonprofit, it's the city of Winona.
And I did email the ones that we had to you,
Yeah.
Marcia.
Yeah. But we haven't gotten them all. I mean, I guess I'm saying in our process, we should ask for copies of anything they have to file with any other state organization.
And has Smith been here yet this year?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they came.
They came. The new director came in.
Yeah, earlier in hot summertime, I think he was here. And I know the Soil and Water Conservation wants more, but there's been a lot of money flowing from the One Watershed programs. And I guess I'm not 100% sure of their capability to recoup some of their expenses with that new money that's come in.
I think that it's hard for them because it's all so much tied to a specific grant and they sometimes need discretionary money that they can do whatever with.
Their elected body approved it, and that's a financially conservative group of people unless things have changed since you were there.
Having sat on that board, the difficulty is the funding. It's very unique. You know, you hear about, hey, we're funded from so many different maybe organizations or whatever it is. 99.9% of the funding is usually comes with strings attached, and it does not always necessarily work out in the timing.
But you have to
And-
learn to pull the
10 years of being on that board, I would have loved to simplify it. And we've tried as many things as block grants. We've tried, you know, outside agencies. We've tried multiple ways to continue to keep that. And so the scary part is that just picture yourself as an employee, not necessarily knowing if you're going to have a job in 2 years, because if the funding source dries up. So what it does is it creates a scenario of trying to find just a couple qualified people when you interview them and you say, hey, by the way, you may or may not have a job in 2 years.
It's a grant funded position.
100%.
And I have
And that's what makes it hard. So
sat on this board.
if you let me just finish for a second, the discretionary aspect is that the board itself just needs enough funding to stay operational. And then whatever happens with the outside money, they can appropriate that. So whether it's AIS or, you know, 319 grants, whatever it might be. So they need to just have something stationary enough so that they can solidify the personnel and the location so they can continue to do the good work. That's the way I see it.
Angst I have with this though, and I have sat on that board, some of the angst I have about this whole thing about water. One watershed, one plan was supposed to take away all this angst. It was supposed to be consistent, positive funding. It wasn't supposed to be all these grants and again, they said, oh, you're not gonna have to file for all these that was a wish list that hasn't come true.
I don't,
There's still,
I don't disagree with
there's
that.
still,
And it actually is coming to that. So there was 32 water boards. So one of the things that's on the topic now that is public information is that Olmsted County is pulled out of Whitewater, right? Which now puts us in a scenario. And, you know, just yesterday, or the day before, what day is it? Wednesday. Monday, I called Sheila Harms and said, Sheila, where are we at? And, you know, we had to reassure each other that this is probably going to be the right move. But my number one thing is because of the one watershed plan, that we have a lot more confidence today of pulling that, which is saddens me to say I'm going to be the chair of a board that's going to shut that down, but we see it as relevant because of that. So I don't think it was the one watershed, one plan, as much hesitation as I had to that, because it took local control away and brought it at a bigger level, but it is going to dissolve some of these smaller water groups and have a little more oversight. So, but it's not going to happen like that. So it is happening. And what's going to happen though is, so the common consensus is now we take the responsibilities of that and we go to the individual county SWCDs to now, and in conjunction with one watershed. So really, in essence, the responsibilities are going to fall back onto these SWCDs. So it's just not going to happen overnight. As much as I wish it was and save the taxpayer money, I saw it as another state power grab, but I'm starting to adapt to it a little bit.
because I think 5 years is a little more than overnight. They've had plenty, Bowser's had enough time. They don't, it doesn't get better. It seems to be getting worse.
I
again.
mean, as the federal sources of grant money for agriculture are delayed or dry up, or there's less of them, the money that's coming from the legacy funds, so it's like about 305 million every 2 years. And that is the money that, part of that, that's a big chunk of that goes to, through Bowser, to one watershed, one plan plans across the state. There'll be something that's still funded when there's less funding through NRCS, et cetera.
My fear is that if we don't have local involvement, that it'll get lost at the state level. And so if we don't empower our local involvement, that is probably the strongest voice for a landowner, let alone a farmer.
I agree with that.
it's going to get lost in upper legislation because XYZ guy that doesn't have time. Right now, that's the sounding board. And look at what it's composed of. 4 out of the 5 members at one time were all farmers. So to me, that is, and a lot of people ask me why I got on it, because I wanted to be a representative voice for agriculture and put a balance in there from, I'm going to say, 2 sides of the coin. So if we lose that, we lose, I think, the most local control we have as an advocacy for land ownership.
I'm not saying losing local control. I'm all for that. But again, I was at the onset of this one watershed and a lot of promises were made to us how this was going to work.
I don't
And
disagree.
again, so my history tells me it didn't work out like they thought it was going to.
But I'm not going to shoot the local level for the state's decision. That's
Because
my
they're the
thing.
ones who are trusted, right? Soil, water, SWCDs are trusted by agricultural producers. And
Well,
where the University of Minnesota might tell you to do X, Y, Z, it means a lot more if it comes from a local organization that knows.
so that's why I fought so hard when I was on the board, when they passed the buffer rule, which was an absolute horrible thing to do because they, right, I see your weird look, but
We already had a buffer law in Winona County when it happened. so
right,
it's-
but let's just look at this as a grander thing. So I saw the confused look on your face, Commissioner Olson. Why would I say that that was a horrible thing to do?
I don't know. I'm waiting for you.
I watched you look over here with a little smirk, so why would that be? I mean, if you disagree with it.
But we already had it.
I'm not saying as a whole, I'm saying as a state. The reason why is because they passed it down to the SWCDs and made them be the enforcer. So Commissioner Meyer's comment that this is our local board that farmers should trust, and now you have these people out with a gun and a badge saying you will, and it immediately discredited the SWCD.
Didn't we give that authority to the SWCD? Because it was a county to enforce.
For $90,000.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So you guys collectively said, dangled 90,000 in front of the SWCD and said, you will enforce this, which put us in a position to now play
Hey, I
the
wasn't.
gun.
No, you weren't.
And we upset a lot of farmers.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I had tons of phone calls on that, like why, I thought these guys were supposed to help us. So we need to be careful what we do, which is why I was so against that, because it actually discredited the SWCD and put us in an enforcement action, which should have never have happened.
Good question. Can I borrow your power cord?
Sure.
Do you support the 11,750 increase to SWCD?
Yeah, I think that's one of the few areas that I think, just because I know what they need to do, and it is, the funding to that is so erratic.
Disagree.
You can't, I've sat on the board for 10 years and everybody knows I'm pretty conservative, but it is something that they have virtually no control. And we have looked for outside sources of revenue. Bill Rocamp is a phenomenal person. He brought some things, the prior administration, that I think should be visited. Wanda's listening. And that they should really look at those outside fundings, but it is very, very slim pot to find outside funding for that organization.
If I could ask commissioners that we allow Department of Corrections to give you the restorative justice information that you would ask for at the
So they
previous
can go back to
meeting.
work, yeah.
Yeah, I just glanced back and I'm like, oh, shoot, I forgot to have them come on up and give their information.
I'll just say it's a great conversation and if Elson goes for it, I'll go for it.
The one thing, so
We can come back to.
Yeah.
the updated- I just,
Because that's, maybe we can have agreement that we'll fund SWCD. at
well, on this
much
chart,
less
you didn't put what
No.
the increases were. I don't remember
Wants
that
us to
one.
reduce it even.
Yeah.
Right, but who else asked for an increase? Were they the only one?
So the city did.
yeah, there's
The
others.
city wanted more.
But does this reflect,
This
They-
is
they
what's
asked for
in the
11,000.
budget, which is straight lined.
Yeah.
okay, so before we change topics here, so the soil and water wants 170 some?
11,750 more.
More than the ones,
Yeah.
okay, so I was unclear okay, so it's
So
plus.
you're saying 11?
11,000.
What they asked for,
But
we-
you said 11 first, now it's 750, 11,750. Well, or do you say pare it down, then say 11 straight? I'm just.
11,700.
Okay.
Okay, and who else on this list asked? I don't,
Handful of us.
I'd have to get back to you. I
Okay,
don't have
yeah.
that with me.
Right, this is what you, okay,
That's
all right,
that line, freezing everything.
Yeah,
okay.
well, I recall when this came before us in a working session, it was so it wouldn't come back in front of us again.
Well, you know, we can leave the thing of it is, in a household budget, you know, you got to adjust. You only got so many dollars. And lately, you know, just health insurance, property taxes, home insurance, heating, fuel, you know, just everything has gone up.
And
There's
maybe
only
in the
so
Humane
many,
Society, that the budgeted amount could be lowered.
but there is only so many dollars to spread and such. So to ask for more, yeah, when everybody else is struggling, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
what are you going to tell us about?
Restorative justice.
And is there another sheet on that one?
There was also the issue of.
There was a separate email.
Returning
The-
DOC back to the county.
Yes. Oh, that, here, Marcia, this is the, we got it. I haven't had
Yeah, I think
copies
it
of
was
stuff.
It was emailed out to the board. Do
There's.
When was that?
you have some extra copies?
Yeah, you got extra copies?
You're so prepared.
We get so many.
I have one. You have one? I have one.
Okay. Yep.
I gave
Thank you.
another one to Marcia.
No, the legislature sees us fit to violate or change state law, so we're just not gonna do this anymore. We'll let them take care of the criminals.
Yeah, that's the same one.
Oh, okay.
I have that one.
Okay, you need
but
this
it's-
one. I need it.
Well, I brought restorative justice coordinator here to answer your question.
She works in the trenches every day, so I figured, I know some of you know a lot about our program. And some of you might not know so much about it, so that's why we're here today, because I think there were some questions. A little bit more, so if you have questions, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the overview, or if you just wanna shoot questions at us, or if you'd like Katie to give an overview, that would be fine as well.
How about a short overview and then questions?
Yeah, sure, perfect.
So hi, I'm Katie Kuyak and I'm one of the restorative justice coordinators for Winona County. Me and my coworker, we do a multitude of programs throughout restorative justice. We work with youth ages 10 to 18 throughout Winona County. Our primary function is juvenile diversion programming, and the goal of restorative justice diversions is to hold youthful offenders accountable while repairing harm for victims and the community. This is done through the circle process. Additionally, Winona County Restorative Justice offers many other services, including community work service, a one-on-one community-based mentoring program, a life skills course, truancy intervention programming, and a multitude of circle processes, and also decision points programming.
That it?
I was gonna say, if you want me to go into like each program, I can, or if there's specific questions.
To help me understand, how many people get served? I mean, I'm trying to figure out the like kind of a like, how many people did you help and is there a cost per person, right? So I tried to figure that out, but there are some things that aren't on here. So for example, when you talk about the 88 support circles under treatment court, how many people is that?
So right now, we currently have 13, and we have 2 more coming in this week. So we'll be at 15.
And then when you say that I'm trying to think where you had worked with kids, but then you're saying that, under community group conferencing, facilitate our first adult community group conference in 2025. And how many people did you serve?
We just did the one. So Karen had sent us an email with this case and just asked if this is something we would be willing to try, and just to see how that went. It was very successful. We enjoyed it. We let our supervisor know that it went well. We let Karen know, and we would be interested in doing more.
That was just like,
It was a college student.
Yes.
person, okay.
So we are looking at expanding into the colleges.
Okay, so what's definition of went well?
It was successful. He completed the program, the circle process, the community group conference, the victim part.
What was the offense that he was
maybe
called in for?
explain what it is that.
Yeah, what did they do that got him in this situation?
Sure. So he was intoxicated and downtown here, and outside he had an altercation with another person that
Than 18 years old,
This was a college.
college student. So he was in his
from 10 to 18.
No, right.
That's our primary function is
No,
10 to
it's
18.
Adult community.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
18 plus.
So this
Okay.
was our first young adult conference that we did. So he was downtown outside of a bar, got into an altercation with another male, and it just kind of escalated. He ended up pulling a knife on this person. So he was referred to our program. We were able to bring him in, the victim. We have a community member who comes in with an unbiased opinion of the situation. So just kind of getting the community's input, how this impacts the community, just kind of getting other people's perspective, again, not knowing the offender or the victim. And then we asked the police officers if they're able to come, and this one they were able to. So we just bring everyone into a room. We have rounds of questions that we go through and just kind of hearing like what led up to this incident, why did this incident occur, how can we prevent this from happening again? And then we repair the harm. So he has a contract, or our participants have contracts that they have to complete that we all agree to by a deadline. If they complete that, we do send them back as successful.
Like, what do they have to do? Pick up garbage or patrol?
Anything can be on a contract. It can be apology letters, community service, self-reflection papers. It can be, we've had kids clean out the police cars because they did damage to property. We kind of do whatever the offense was. We try to make sure that something on the contract pertains to that incident. So they can kind of get that full visual.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
What Chris was asking, I think, and I'm also going to ask maybe in a different way, is on the different categories like truancy early intervention, it says 23 out of 31, truancy diversion, 29 out of 41. This is a large budget item. It's $250,000, $243,000. How many total people do you work with? Or are these, when it's 31 students, 41 students, 14 juveniles successfully, are these unique individuals different, or are they repeats? How many, help us justify $243,000?
So for each category, so if you're looking at the truancy early intervention, those 31 students, those are just those 31 students.
Okay.
That doesn't carry over into the truancy diversions, which would be 41
But
students.
different.
Those would be completely separate.
The next category is also completely different.
Correct. Yep.
Because I've been a part of 2 support circles. It's been a number of years, been a while. But I haven't, to be honest with you, I've not heard much about restorative justice in the schools for a while, for a couple of years. So the program is still active in.
It is. Yep. And we're still in the schools. We have monthly meetings weekly meetings at the high school that we're a part of for our truancy early interventions and truancy diversions.
At Winona, you guys.
Yes.
Where do you guys meet?
Just in that conference room in the.
Counseling office?
Yes. Yep.
Good.
Every Monday morning.
So question, truancy. What's the parents' commitment and involvement in this?
That's
I mean, why aren't we holding them, if your kid isn't in school and they're 10 to 18, why aren't you? What's the consequence to the parent?
So if it falls under child welfare. So if it weren't to be successful and it does go to court, the parents are just as much at fault. They have to participate in court. They are juveniles, so they.
Well, even court is too late, because court is how many times? 7?
Yeah.
Seven unexcused absence. No, then you've created a habit. So to break the habit, you just know this. This is your field. I mean, this is not mine. But to break the habit, you can't let them pull off 7 unexcused absent. Are the parents notified and hauled into these sessions too? Is there consequences for the parents?
We have no control over the parents, which is the problem.
Well, that is a problem because the parents are.
Yeah, because the school filed the early intervention of the truancy, we have the control over the student at that point, but even then, they don't need to comply with anything.
Yeah, they're a
Then it
minor.
goes
They
to
can
the
tell
court
you to
system.
go buzz off.
Yeah, and then the parents are involved in that, and then even at that point, we can, we enforce court orders, but we have no ultimate control over if they
So
want to do
that
that.
just seems.
Back into the court system.
I know you've been here before and I mean, this is ludicrous. that we don't hold the parents,
I think
because they're responsible for them.
In many
As a
cases-
parent, I'm responsible for my kid. They're older now, but I still feel there's a certain commitment and responsibility. And
thank
as
you
a
for that.
society, we have really failed,
But
and
I-
we continue to fail.
I think that
I'll bet you that.
kids don't end up
Be
here
education
unless,
Nowadays.
What?
Should be in education
Yeah.
nowadays.
I should?
Yeah.
No, I
No,
thought about
yeah.
that once.
No.
I should have gone into the military.
I think many times kids don't end up here unless there are family problems to start.
Well, I know, so
I agree
again,
with you. We agree. And teachers, we would love to have parents involved and supportive. Oh my God, get me started. Yeah.
well, I mean, can't we do something? So if your kid's missing from school, okay, so explain the process. Okay, so I got a teenager and they don't show up to school. What happens? If I'm the parent, when do I know they're not in school?
So what the school is doing, if a kid is missing even a class period, the parents get notified via text, email, phone call from the school. And they'll get a letter in the mail at 1 unexcused absence for a full day, 3 unexcused absences, 5, and then at 7. At 7, it is sent to Health and Human Services for a child welfare check. It then gets sent to our office. We contact the parent, kind of let them know, hey, your student or your child has hit 7 unexcused absences. What's going on? Why is this a reoccurring pattern? They can work with us in a truancy diversion program. Otherwise, at that time, they would be sent to court if they choose not to.
And what's the court do? Slap their hand and say, now, Johnny, you'll go to school?
So they get put on with a social worker. Her name's Georgia, and she works with them. She can kind of get things, kind of evaluate the family, their needs, what is the issue. It could be chemical dependency assessments. It could be mental health issues, whatever that would be. And she can make those referrals as needed for whatever the child needs.
Okay, this is philosophically, this is very disturbing to me. I mean,
Of course.
If I could just
it's
also,
ludicrous that we've allowed this and we continue to allow it, and we don't seem to put the screws to, somebody that needs to be held responsible.
Teachers are leaving.
Well, yeah, it's a bunch of crap.
this, I mean. yeah,
Words
but-
of wisdom.
Yeah, well, and
Attorney Scott.
I just want to reflect on, as county attorney now for 15 years, but before that, I was a public defender and a mother of 3 children who probably graduated from Winona High School and went through the whole system. But we do have a system in my office by law, and I just want to speak to this because restorative justice is so important, and it's part of our, and it's 388.24 pretrial diversion programs for juveniles. By statute, I am required as county attorney to have a diversion program for juveniles, which we've had, and with collaboration with restorative justice, we've been able to make that program much more robust. There's been ups and downs because sometimes the schools, I'll say this, and my husband, full disclosure, is
school
on the
board.
school board, but that doesn't help sometimes, because the schools don't always want to cooperate. And that's why you probably saw, and maybe Commissioner Vaguely, you may have noticed that there was maybe not as much restorative justice at the high school for a while. And that's because we have to work with the school officials, and they don't, everybody likes to be in their own silo, I think. So, but I would like to say in support of restorative justice that in looking at, whether it's discretionary, because one of the first things that was on that original memo
From the
Ms.
last meeting.
Holtze, yeah, the last. We work hand in hand with restorative justice, and our pretrial diversion program wouldn't work as well without it. In fact, the statute suggests, and not even suggests, really kind of says that working with corrections. And so we have put together that program, but yes, I mean, they have their annual golf tournament, which I've played in, and
I
it's a
contribute
great
to it.
program. It raises money, but that's not enough. And Commissioner Vogel, you talked about, well, how many kids does this really reach to? It's sort of like the treatment court program where you reach one kid and that it's like you throw a rock into the pond and the ripple effect is huge. So, we reduced the number of truancies, we reduced the number of juvenile delinquencies. I don't know if we have statistics on that, but it's the same kind of theory of, and, yes, the parents, I was frustrated with the parents when I was representing kids as a public defender. I'm frustrated with the parents as the county attorney. And I would note that during parent-teacher conferences, and maybe you saw this too, Commissioner Ward, because I know you had kids at the high school, you start at the parent-teacher conferences the first of the fall, and then the number of parents drops off considerably by each quarter of the, but, we just have to keep working at it, because if we stopped, it would get way worse. So.
Take away their cell phones, get their attention.
I think there's that
That's
discussion.
easily done.
Well, it's a discussion at the school board level, I think, and some schools have done it, so.
Well, no, let these kids out here where they don't have any, they can, with all their friends and such, just get rid of, you gotta get something that gets their attention. Seriously.
100% agree.
Thank you
Okay.
for all the work that you do on juvenile and juvenile diversion, because
Did you say? in
it's real
terms of-
important.
I know you work with all three school districts, St. Charles, Lewiston, Winona. 130 kids, unique individuals, is that ballpark? I did some quick math.
It could very well be, yes, but I
Can you
mean, that
find that?
fluctuates year to year.
Can you find that and share it, Maureen, to share it with us, is like what the range is from year to year? I know that I should say my school district was more difficult to work with for a while. Hopefully that's gotten smoothed out.
It's gotten better.
It
yeah.
has gotten better.
Yeah.
I think though that WAPS has, the number of truancy cases from St. Charles and Lewiston, Altura are
Or much less.
Oh, they've always, and juvenile delinquencies too.
almost non-existent compared to WAPS. Yeah.
I have to ask Ms. Holte, I think in the line item budget then is restorative justice one grouping, one fund? Is it all their expenses?
It's a department.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's listed in here. I remember seeing it.
Actually, it's under Department of Corrections. It's part of.
43,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was a huge number.
If you could just give us the numbers to justify it, that's a large column. Thank you. But we also, there was, on one of the forums, it talked about DOC bring back to the county.
Yeah.
Renee can help.
That'll be a switch.
If you have
Yep.
any more questions for restorative justice, otherwise.
We just get those numbers to Maureen later.
Thank
I don't know,
you.
just threaten them to take their cell phone away and see what kind of reaction.
Love to do that.
What kind of what kind of reaction you would get from them? I got.
I don't know. It sounds kind of dangerous if you ask me.
Would,
Not support you.
I know, but that's okay. I don't care. I don't need a lot of friends
needs
or
some
anything.
privacy.
Yeah, yes. It's, as a society, I think it's gonna be marked as a really downfall.
It's not the schools.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
parents.
schools
That's right.
teachers will
That's
be-
right. Yeah.
So much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
guys.
thank you so much.
Tell Verizon to spend some of their $10 billion they spend on advertising to restorative justice.
Would love that.
Because they're contributing.
Would love that. Yeah.
They're contributing.
Okay, I know there were some questions on the funding formula. Try to explain this stuff.
And AMC worked on that and we were all supposed to get more
Oh, we
money
did. It was
for
one
a
time.
short.
It was
con-
one
yeah,
time.
one-time money. Yep. Yep. They worked hard on that. I know they did.
Yes, and
Across
I
the
know,
state.
I've been here for over 28 years. Maureen's been through the whole thing with me, and we talk every single year about funding
Yes.
and the formula, and it's never been totally funded, ever. Some years it's been a little bit better, and we think, oh, we're getting up there closer to what it should be, and all of a sudden it tanks the next year. So they did come up with this new funding formula. Basically, all 87 counties get a base rate of 150,000, all counties. And then from there, they go to the individual county and they take 3 years, they took 3 years of the averages for the cases. And that's with felony cases, misdemeanor and gross misdemeanor cases. Then juvenile cases is separate from that. So the rate that they give for a felony case is $5.62. And then the misdemeanor and gross misdemeanor now is half of that, which is $2.81. They took that over the 3-year average for Winona County
And that's where they came up with it.
So what are we supposed to do with that $2.81? Run the whole gamut of things?
Well, I mean, this is what they're charging, this is what we are paying Department of Corrections.
So, and that's part, the whole
Yeah.
formula.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of us are in this position. It's not by any means just our.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
unique to Winona County.
Yeah, and we were not pleased. The years that they used were during COVID. So I know Winona County, I mean, we did a lot of stuff in our court system, and Karen
Yeah.
can probably speak more to that
We
than
did.
I can.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
of course, our numbers were lower during COVID
Sure.
with the charging, with everything. You know, and some counties didn't go to the whole Zoom platforms and all that kind of stuff. They had more in-person stuff, but we did. Since the 3 years that they did the study, now they'll do it in 3 more years. So that formula is gonna change again. And
But
it is-
all these programs and the sheriff said and everything, we're reducing that. So we're only cutting our own
we're still-
dollars.
We're still supervising the felons, the misdemeanor grosses. I would say if we did not have those programs, we would be needing more staff on the probation and parole end of it. The numbers were lower during that time, like I said. I know there's already been an increase. I know Karen and I have had several conversations about different levels of supervising, and it also takes into account the risk and needs of those clients. Which in, you know, the higher risk, higher need, the more services that person needs. So they take that into account too. So that's where they got the formula. I guess that's the simple version that I can explain to you how they came up with that.
So, okay, so like, I'm trying to understand this. Okay, so you're saying there were less convictions and then less people being in probation during the pandemic.
Yes.
And the look back is 3 years. So that's
Yes.
24, 23,
They did
22.
21, 22, and 23 to get our numbers.
Okay.
Well, everybody's numbers.
And that's why it's up, is because
Since then,
it was
because-
lower in 1920 and maybe 21.
So
but you-
they're doing another study, but
Yeah.
it's then, you know, that won't change for the 3 years.
But it's gonna, provided that there have been as many people in the system, though, this is the new high. This won't go down.
Yes, it will.
It will go down
Yeah.
because,
Winona County will get more money. We used to, and Maureen might have to help me out, we used to get this, it was a subsidy. So how they used to do it is they would send the county whatever the subsidy was, which was never close to what it was, the statute said it was,
Okay.
of course. Then we would get a bill. So then we would take that money that we got and we would pay back and pay whatever the extra is. Now we don't get that subsidy. The state keeps that and just sends us the bill.
for the difference.
Yes, and they are saying that that's supposed to be simpler. I don't know yet, cause we're in the.
Yet to see it.
Yeah, we will see. And I know it was created some issues with us here in Winona County because we're on calendar year, the state's on fiscal year. Some of the counties have changed some of how they're billing. That's how we do it here, but we've kind of kept on top of that over the last 28 years because we knew that's how it was going to play out.
But I think the question is in different counties, so you guys are state employees and we get the bill. Some counties
Right.
have their own.
Community Corrections
probation.
Act
Yeah,
counties.
Yeah.
community
Yeah.
corrections. Is there any benefit monetarily for us to switch systems? Now, of course, you're close to your retirement, I'm sure. I mean, so, but and I'm sure you're biased, having worked in the
You have to
system.
say anyway, yeah.
So why would we want to change?
Well, I don't know if you got, I sent Maureen an email with the list. I don't know.
Oh, no.
Okay, taking all of that stuff out of it, and I said, just looking at money, because I'm hoping I'm near retirement, but that's not gonna be for a while, so I'm here. for
I've
the
heard
long
that.
haul.
That's a rumor.
I know,
Yeah.
it's a rumor. I'm here for the long haul. So if Winona County takes it all, comes back like how we used to have it,
Mm-hmm.
they will be paying the same amount. That formula does not change if you're CPO, CCA, or DOC. That does not change.
Okay.
And it's based on our felons, misdemeanor grosses. So that does not change.
Okay.
But additionally, we will be getting the county will be getting a lot of other costs on top of that, that they are currently not paying for. For example, they're not paying for supervisor and support staff supervisor. So that would be something.
Offices, equipment?
For our felony office, right now, they pay nothing. The county pays absolutely nothing. In our courthouse, we are housed in the courthouse for the misdemeanor grosses and juveniles, so we have space. But the state provides us with all of our IT equipment, all the IT. We do all of the hiring also. It's all the personnel stuff. And along with that comes all of the liability, the insurances, all that kind of stuff. All employee development is paid for by the state. Financial services, the different types of programs that we have and licensures, like we call it CSTS, it's a court services tracking system. So we have to pay license for that. The individual assessments we have to do, that we are required to do on all the clients, the state pays for all the assessments, they pay for the licensure, the copyrights, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, all the trainings, the legal, the state pays for anything legal, should there ever be something come up with that. All of our safety type stuff, any type body armor, vests, that's all paid for by the state. And the travel and business expenses. We also do have,
But they must have all that figured into what the bill they send us.
no, it's different. The bill they send us, it says right on there, it's for the salary and benefits. It lists it right out what it's for. That is totally separate.
So
Well,
what
why
those are
would
the
any county-
disadvantages? Well, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
to interrupt. What are the advantages of just detail with that again?
Yeah, why are some other counties, and
Some of the other counties, they're choosing just to have it so that they can run it. Like, it used to be that way here.
what discretion would we have if we can deviate from state law?
No.
Like guns and rifles?
You could provide
Yeah.
more programming.
Yeah, there's more programming, which is why some of the counties are doing it. They want them more programming. And they want that, how we used to have it here. The judge basically was the supervisor or kind of oversaw the department. And I think Karen, even though you
remember
were in
those
the public
days, yep,
defender's
mhm,
office, I
yep.
know you were
It was
also
upstairs, yep,
part of
mhm.
that. So, and then right now also, part of this, is we can do some more sharing, if you will, of resources. So I have a staff person that's possibly gonna retire shortly after the year. So then we will not be filling that position because I will be shifting duties within our county, at the felony office, and we will be able to do that more crossing of duties. So that will decrease our bill right there.
So didn't Houston and Fillmore share something?
With Olmsted, I think.
Dodge, Fillmore and Olmsted.
Yeah, don't they
DFO,
do
yeah.
something collaboratively?
Fillmore,
Oh, that was, yeah.
So now it's Dodge and Olmsted.
And they're a CCA, I think.
Dodge and Olmsted.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
And I'm not sure why I don't.
And again, I mean, if you are familiar with Olmsted County, they have a ton of programming.
Yeah, they're
A
more.
ton of extra programming that they wanted and that they've developed, so.
Right, I mean, because
They
they,
pay for it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
pay for it,
They
yeah,
have a
yeah,
huge
yeah.
I mean, they have a
They do
special,
have a huge budget.
yeah.
They're a whole different.
They have a
world.
special commitment about never incarcerating youth. And so they have, especially, I think, focused on youth programming.
Gee, do they have a truancy program? Do they have a truancy problem? Maybe we could learn something. from them.
I think that's answered, that's
Yeah.
answered our questions.
Yeah.
hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to set you free if no problem.
Thank you.
I don't want to force you to, I feel like we could talk to you for an hour.
Yeah, well, if you
What do
have
you
more
got?
questions or you need any.
Commissioner Ellison's got a question.
Not for,
Oh,
Thanks for,
okay.
Questions?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
thanks for
All right,
everything you
thank
do.
Thank you for your
Renee.
patience.
this is just something that in the back of my mind, I keep talking about this and I
Thanks,
thank you. One of the things that, we look at these outside agencies and we haggle over $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 and
Yep.
feel like we're doing something good to the taxpayer. And in a way we are, don't get me wrong. But just while we were doing this, I went through this all 100 pages, whatever it is of the budget here, and I just started looking at expenses again. And I just see some major discrepancies in some of the things that we budget. For example, and I'm not picking on any, but one that really comes to mind is that our electricity bill at the jail In 2024 was 80,000, it went to 170,000. How does that happen? Did we leave every light on? You know, I look at some of these things, and then the gas bill was zero, and we budgeted 40,000. How does that happen? You know, wait, my question is this, I'm not looking for specific answers. I go back to what we've said before. When I was a kid, growing up on the farm, we didn't have anything. So when fuel prices went up, we turned the thermostat down. I remember many, many times going to bed cold and getting up in the morning and running downstairs because we didn't have heat upstairs. And we go sit on the heat register. And at the end of the day, there's definitely things we got to fund, but I look in here and I just ask myself this question. And this is just a rounded question, not pinpointed at anybody. I look at the amount of money, I just started sum totaling just a line item supplies. I own a multi-million-dollar company. I know what our supply budget is.
It's huge.
And it's a massive number when you start like adding all these departments up, what they're spending in supplies and it lumps in. I look at the professional contracted services and, you know, you look at all these things. And yet we sit back here and we pick on these little groups out here and then we narrow a 27% down to 9 and feel like we did something. My question is in the rest of this stuff, outside of what we're focusing on here, we could fund all of this with just a few simple things over here on discretionary items and not even have to have this conversation about the rest of it. So my question is this, are we confident in this 2,000 maybe line budget that is 100% efficient? Where we can say every dollar spent on a membership due, every dollar spent on supply, every dollar spent on, because this is what I do in my business. I want to know down to the toilet paper. That's a true statement. That those things are happening with maximum efficiency and that, hey, we did need to buy this, or we did need to do this, or we do need to belong to this membership, or we are doing the things that are necessary. That's my question. We never seem to review this. We seem to review this. And we scrutinize the ever-living crap out of this. And we walk away from arguably 95% of the cost to run government, which is in here. And we focus on this 5% and we try to whittle it down. So the question becomes, starting to look into this side of things and saying, hey, is it necessary that some of these things are actually happening, and going back and reviewing some of that, which I know Administrator Holte, you do that, but we don't ever seem to hear, hey, by the way, XYZ department realized that they're on a true story from my wife, who's a director. They're on an auto renewal program and we've got storage closets full of diapers that we didn't even know about, because somebody just kept sending them and somebody just kept putting them in the closet. So adult diapers. So I just have to put into my business mindset, both myself and my wife who are in those types of positions, and say, hey, what are we doing for the confidence of the board to ensure when I look at these massive, massive expenditures that, hey, there wasn't out of $78,000 that couldn't have been $68,000. There's your money for your shelter. That's my question. And like I said, we focus on this 5%. We let the 95 go. I would really like to have a little more confidence when I look at this. One of them was the environmental. I started looking at the environmental hazardous waste. I thought, well, that's got to be to get rid of it. Nope, lo and behold, there's a line item down below for another $1 million to get rid of it. I'm like, holy, we have that much waste in Winona County that we've got multi-million dollars worth of expense. So I'm trying to figure out, like, there's so many dollars here that we don't even look at. How can we begin to, I'm not going to say, I don't want to use the word scrutinize, but to better understand that we can incorporate some of these large expenditures and put a little more focus on that, which might free up some of the dollars for the little more of the philanthropy side of things, I think. I have had, if not 10, 100 people come up to me and say, how do you like being on the county board? And I say, I think we spend a fair amount of time focusing on a small percentage of things we have control of. And we need to spend more time on looking at some of the bigger stuff. Because when you look at a $70 million budget, give or take, and we're always focused on the same $1.3 million kind of sort of deal, really, I think there's so many more things we can dive in. And in one way, I would love to hear that it's 100%. And in another way, I'd love to hear that it's not. You know what I mean? Because it's not about pointing fingers. It's just really saying, are we doing the best job? And I get that question more than what I think. And I think a lot of it is from fellow businessmen, fellow farmers that have to do this type of thing on a daily basis to keep their businesses and farms going. So you mean to tell me that they're 100%? You know, I'm summarizing, leaving out the swear words. And I can't answer the question. So is there a way that we can, and I know Commissioner Ward had alluded to a while, breaking up some of these departments and really evaluating and saying that. And I know that as administrator, you oversee some of that. But it'd be nice to have a little more evidence, I think, because I do believe there has to be some areas in here where we can say, hey, I brought one up at the last meeting. Hey, I mean, this is our only option. We have no other ways to try to checks and balances. So that's what my 2-minute thing on this, that I just sometimes get a little frustrated that we sit here and pick people apart when I look at all these numbers and go, man, there's got to be some inefficiencies in there.
So, well, let's let Ms. Holte, you have confidence in it?
This is something that Administrator Holte and I talked about when we met to talk over the stuff that's in our packet today. So I'm hoping she'll be able to share this with all of you. This is coming from the County Administrator Group. That's MAXA. Yeah. And so
What's the list? What do you-
the list is the percentage of levy for counties, there's 37 or 38 counties that goes towards Health and Human Services, okay? Now, our budget is going to be about 21 million, and HHS is one of the big areas of the county's expenses, probably the biggest and the most employees. So Winona County, 29% in 2025, 29% of our HHS budget was paid by the levy. The average for the 37 or 8 counties that are part of this group is more like 22. And that would be $1.75 million. So they are clearly figuring out ways to collect more revenue or manage their services in a more efficient way. And so I think that there is a place for improvement. I don't think it's a thing that we can do by the end of this year, but I think it's something that Administrator Holte would like to do. And now that we have a new HHS director, I mean, we've really kind of been empty for a couple of years. I think that's a thing that we could pursue that would really help.
Well, and I just go along the concept of this isn't pointing fingers. It isn't about that. It's, I literally want to know the cost of a toilet paper roll, because if you use enough toilet paper rolls, it adds up, right? That's the thing. So at the end of the day, when you begin to scrutinize or line item things out and say, hey guys, is this really necessary? The idea to me is that it's not going to come probably from one big thing. It's probably going to be hundreds of small things, literally.
But I
Yeah.
think what we learned is, for example, that if we don't have the right ratio of clients to social caseworkers, we get reimbursed at a lower rate.
I'm not
And
even
that-
talking
yeah,
HHS.
yeah.
I'm just saying as a whole.
But that
as
means
a whole.
managing our staff
Right.
can increase our revenue.
Right.
So I mean, I really think we should be doing all those things.
Mhm. So I just, I look at, human resources, there's $22,000 budgeted for advertising. Is that necessary? There's a couple thousand maybe we wouldn't need there, right? We do one less little thing, whatever it is. There's $2,000 that frees up to fund another project. Like I said, I think there's so many things in here that we could maybe say, hey, is this nice to have or is it necessary to have? And we can squeeze some of those dollars out, show a realized value of those dollars and say, hey, we've found X amount of dollars. We're going to take a percentage of those and give back to these types of deals where we still have a taxpayer savings. We can still continue to do some of these things and everybody kind of wins. So, yeah. And I'm not picking on any group, any department, anything, but same way. I would have to think that somewhere in here, we could say, hey, discretionary, let's define nice and need.
Yeah.
and I'm not,
So first of all, I trust our leadership. They have worked very hard at fine tuning their budgets. I do trust them when they say, I need X, Y, Z in order to do my job. I have asked them to go back, sharpen the pencil, see what else we can do. And a lot of them are doing an awesome job at even squeezing more. And I'm very appreciative of that. But even, Commissioner Elsing, to your point, Winona County has room for improvement. I think every organization does. But it takes time to do those kinds of analysis. Just as I shared with Commissioner Meyer that, you know, I've been in this role technically probably a couple of years, but the ability to actually do the role the way it needs to be done, we need to have full capacity with our leadership team. So with all due respect, I do believe we're working on those improvements. The out-of-home placement is an example of where, you know, that's a high ticket area. And I felt we have to do something. But these other pieces all are going to take time. I do not see the ability to get to a single digit by the end of December. I just don't see it. And I'm being completely honest. Can I go through and nickel dime on the budget? Absolutely. Is that going to get us $600,000? No.
Do you get an exact, one of my pet peeves is that professional services and contracts. So when you ask a department head to do that, is that broken down nickel to nickel?
We have done better on this last round because we are asking more specifics. We're having it itemized.
Okay, so now, okay, so I'm looking at page 274.
1 second. And
Yeah.
I'll let you defer
Yeah.
back to you, is that if I skip lunch, which I'm fine with, I can leave at 12:30 at the latest.
Yeah, we
But
can.
I'll be leaving about 12:30, just to
Yeah.
heads up for everybody else. I'll just skip lunch. It's
Okay.
fine.
But I got page 274. This is where, you know, when you start looking at this thing, this is the figures don't add, are disturbing to me. It's this transportation sales tax. So the sales tax back in 2025, you had it 3.8 million, and now 2026, you got it down to 27.
What?
So why the drop in sales tax?
While you're looking, Marina, this is what I wanted to jump in and say that a lot of what Josh said, I agree with in terms of we spend way too much time, you know, debating over nickels and pennies and nickels. We keep talking about dollars, bigger dollar amounts. That people were to go through the line item budget, which is a good thing for all of us. Well, Greg has pointed out some things with like some of the capital costs that they seem out of whack. If people could ask Maureen those questions, then the answers be shared with all of us. Like,
But I mean, this is $1 million revenue shift.
I think that would be good if we all did that, is like, just like Greg pointed out some things with the capital budget that seemed out of whack. If just ask that and then let her and the staff answer it and then share it with us all. Because I do think we'd spend too much time dickering over pennies and nickels when.
Well, it's not a user-friendly document, and I don't know for years how we would make it more user-friendly.
I don't think it's bad, but I've looked at thousands of these. My point was not specific, and it wasn't entitled to point a finger. My point is, I know we can, there's no business, no government, no entity, no household, no anywhere that's running at a 100% efficient, right? So there's always room. So my question, mine is more of an 40 to 80,000 foot approach that just simply says the amount of time we spend on a very small portion of our budget, I think this is disproportionate. If I sat on a business, I've been on boards for other companies, the first thing you do is evaluate, what do you spend your time on? And you go down every department head, what are you spending your time on? And then you come back and you say, okay, in that time, what do you spend your time on? And how much of that time are you spending your time on? And this is what keeps coming into my mind is like, we spend so much time in this, and it would be interesting to justify. And like I said, I believe that these things, and I appreciate the high-end tackle. Let's go after the big dogs, right? But I also think there's a lot of things in small revenue that it's just nice to have. Well, yeah, I love having a big supply expense because I ain't got to worry about whether I want colored paper or not. I'm saying that hypothetically. But there's some businesses that will scrutinize and say, you only get one package of orange paper and that's all you get, right? Because again, at the end of the day, every packet counts, every toilet paper roll counts. That's all I'm trying to say is that I think we could put more time into the other 95% of the budget collectively, everybody's wisdom, to try to help that out and give our input on some of these things, catch mistakes. And maybe there's a way that we could do more of that.
I want to agree with all that. At the same time, what I anticipate, yes to all those things, is that if we ask Maureen to follow up 19 out of 20 times, we'll find out there's a very good reason. I also have a trust and faith in our leadership. Are we missing some key people to make the process? Yes, for sure. The county has not been operating at full strength for quite a while, but I also trust and respect our department heads. But it's good for us as public stewards of taxpayer dollars to do that. As what you're saying, I completely agree with. But I think I hope I anticipate that in the past when I've asked questions, I've gotten good answers for it. That we should for sure do what you're saying.
And I just want to give a suggestion, and I'm not here to tell anybody how to do their jobs or anything like that, but I just use this as an example. What you tend to see is the cost goes up. We know exponentially. You can see it here over and over, 24, 25, 26, and we just assume there's going to be a cost goes up. And really, in reality, most businesses work by the other way. They really look at how do we reduce the cost. So you've got a cost today. Your challenge is to cut 10% out every year until you get down and basically say, no, we no longer can do this. And exponentially, if we show that the trend goes this way, of course, generally the money's going to get spent. Not all the cases, and I've read probably 500 lines of this, not in all cases, but are we managing it under the context that says, hey, and I'm just arbitrarily throwing something out. I'm looking at, I'll pick one. Supplies. Okay, there's always at the bottom, it's always supplies. Hey, your supply budget is $2,500. Guess what? It's not going to go over that for the next 5 years. You better figure out how to make it work. I'm saying that arbitrarily. And basically say, can you do with what you do today and prove it to me? Or do we have policies in place like that? Or is it just simply, hey, every year exponentially, this is going to go up a little bit because we know it goes up? It's an open door to spend that may not necessarily be to spend. I don't know how it's being regulated, but just putting in policies into place so that people have parameters in which their budgets are created in, and they might have to rob from Peter to pay Paul to get through, just like we would, in any household or things like that. So.
Well, look, and again, I'm not picking on Dave, it's just where my computer landed, that sales taxes question. So here's one, that there's a lot of inconsistencies in this. Okay, so erosion control. Okay, in actual 2024, we had 0. In 2024 budget, we have budgeted 11.5. In actual 2025, we have 0, but we budgeted 11,000 in 2025 budget. And then when we go to the last column, the 2026, it's down to 0. So did we really spend that 11,000 in 2025? I mean, it just happened to be one line item that pops up here. And I see that when I look at this document, I see inconsistencies that we budgeted. Did we really spend it?
Well, I think what I tend to see in those situations is it might have been budgeted, but then it's getting reallocated into something else. Well, we went over here and we were under here. It's a license to spend.
So what is it that you might need from us that we haven't given you yet today, seeing as Commissioner Bagley's got to go in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Well,
you guys can keep on going.
I think there's a limit to the usefulness of this.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, our focus. But I mean,
So-
look at these things, it's.
I believe I have an understanding of the direction of the outside agency. There's some things that I need to follow up and provide the board so that you can make a educated decision. Before Commissioner Bagley needs to go, I'd like to just touch briefly on the document that was handed out today, which is what 2027 budgetary items do we already know about?
Yeah.
So does everyone have that document? Okay. So I'm not going to read all of this to you, but I wanted to kind of lay out, these are the things that are on the radar. We already know that we're going to have changes coming legislatively, rules, regulations, et cetera. When you have an opportunity, please read through that. My intent is to have us thinking forward about what's coming down the pike and how are we going to best position Winona County to minimize the amount of levy that we're going to need. So if we were to, so if you flip it to the backside, again, I'm kind of going through this very quickly. You know, I just took a couple of items and calculated the anticipated levy based on 2025's levy data, meaning 1% equals the $256,000, and then equate just the SNAP administrative cost, an anticipated health insurance and wages. And that's including, you know, like a turnover savings of $400,000, but just those three areas is 9.35%. So if we look at all the other items that we already know, we have to have a more strategic approach to budgeting. I've been with the county a long time. I understand what we're accustomed to. But we have to look at, Commissioner Elsie, efficiencies, structure, the fees, the revenues. I mean, we need to do a full review. But again, that's not going to happen overnight, but I think we need to be planful and have dialogue the first part of 2026 to be planning for what are we going to do to plan for 2027. We shouldn't wait until the budget to do that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of areas here that we're budgeting for money, and then what ends up happening is we may or may not spend it, and then it gets found somewhere else to spend. And I think there's room to tighten this up a little bit.
I feel like we've had more transparency in this process than we have in past years. I mean, I feel like we're moving in that direction. When we had Mr. Elliott, he was going to implement cost-based budgeting. Activity-based budgeting. And so I would like to see that come to fruition, which at least our first department, so that we have some numbers to look at, because I want to see if that's going to work. And the second thing is, if I think this whole thing about health and human services has a potential for tremendous savings. So can we, can you put together whatever it is you might need to do that effort starting next year? And then I think with respect to all of, and this is for the county attorney as well, I know that you are working on ways to shift the resources. In total, we're got about like $500,000 worth of diversion programs. If you think of all the CJC, you know, all of those programs. So are there some efficiencies that we can make there to not get rid of those programs, but to sort of save some funds so that we can keep them for the long run?
I've already been looking at, I
Great.
sent a memo to Maureen about that.
I mean, and when I spoke with Administrator Holte the other day, she said that there are there some restorative justice grants that we could potentially go for? And then are there some services, because we do this in the RAP Plus, when we provide services for a client who's in RAP Plus, if we can bill for it, we bill for it. Are any of the services that we're doing in restorative justice things that the state could reimburse us for?
We can look at, and I've, as Renee said, you know, we've always been working together with restorative justice in my office because of the diversion requirement, which I would do anyways, because it saves money, but, so, yeah, there's, the problem is the grant opportunities have really dried up.
Gotcha.
But, I know Gwen had to leave, but we have applied for and we're waiting to hear on a $300,000 grant that would be for, I believe, reentry. So, yeah.
And just a note for the board is that Jill Schaefer, sorry. Chafee. I'll get it right. Sorry. We've already had discussions about the Health and Human Services budget. And we are developing a plan on how we're going to work through that entirely
I don't
Um,
think her and both Bill, is he on board yet or is he still
Who?
coming?
Bill Summit.
Monday,
Monday, okay.
Monday.
I know it'll
yes,
take a while to get them on board.
Yes.
Sonnenberg, right?
Sonnenberg.
So that's good to hear because those are two important parts of the team. That
Exactly.
what needs you and everyone.
For me to help the bigger picture. So just a note, we are working on it, and again, part of that data that I'll send out that I shared with Commissioner Meyer is exactly the kind of thing for the department heads to have and to help contact those other entities and find out what are they doing that we're not, or vice versa. So it's a work in progress.
So before, what's our, I haven't seen, maybe I missed it, our reserves. Are we still healthy on reserves? Because I know you, one thing
I provided at
advocated-
the last meeting.
you
and-
advocated,
Yes.
was that by grouping? I mean, yeah, we've gotten so many different things. But you were advocating spending quite a chunk out of reserves.
1.1 million.
But what's our history? What have we returned into reserves?
That
Like
ebbs and
Commissioner Elsing,
flows.
like if we budgeted $11,000
Yeah.
for fabric control and we didn't do it, did that 11 go back into the reserve?
It would have.
It would have. So can we see what the change has been? How often do we?
I'll
that-
do my best. I'm stretched very thin right now.
yeah. Well, I think we still have a healthy reserve.
Yes, it
More
was
than-
about 3.5 if I recall correctly, but we're recommending to use 1.1.
Right.
The other thing is that, you know, as stated at the previous meeting, I'm anticipating at least $800,000 of revenue that we may not get by the end of the year. So our budget may not look like it's balanced, you
But
know what I
can
mean?
check that sales tax one? That seems odd. Why we're
We
so.
just didn't get it in.
I mean, if sales
But I
are,
mean, it's budgeted, you know, but budget, you have budget for 2026 of a much significant lower
yeah, but
dollar.
if purchases are down
Are you
inside,
talking
I
about
don't think they are.
transportation or
Been
the
to Walmart
sales
lately?
tax or the jail?
the local
Yeah.
option sales tax, if purchases are down.
Right, but I don't think it's a million, but it's budgeted. I mean, we're budgeting less, $1 million less.
I'm basing it on what we're received, meaning like the last payment that we received is 188,000 for September. So even if I take that times 12,
Okay,
that's what I have in there.
okay. All right, well.
I mean,
we'll have to-
We're gonna be, you know,
we're people come here and buy
260,000
Yeah,
under for this year.
pardon me,
We're gonna be short $260,000 of revenue this year.
this year, just on that
Jail.
sales tax.
Yes.
On the jail box.
Jail
Yeah,
bonds.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm trying to say is that,
right,
you know,
yeah. Well, it just didn't, I mean, it's an
estimate. I mean, the budget is an estimate. It's the
Right.
best estimate at the given time of compiling it.
right.
Next year will be the first full year of the local option sales. tax.
Yes.
This year.
That'll be a better idea.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, but we've had the sales tax for the transportation, so that should track
Yeah,
it.
right.
And we've gotten a lot more than they ever anticipated with that.
But
From
you
day
know,
one.
consumer confidence is at a 10-year
Well,
low or
yes,
some damn
yes,
thing.
You're right. The sales tax should be able to.
Yeah. Well, we got to use that for transportation, but it's the key,
Yeah.
it's a,
That's a number.
yeah, a
That-
number
that
that we
was
see.
for sure.
Okay. All right.
You guys can keep on meeting.
No, it's fine. There's some questions.
Well, there's a lot of things in this thing that don't make sense.
Please just send your questions to me so I can get you the answers. Please.
Yeah, no, I think that was more of an over level, you know, just an over high approach here. There's so many things we don't talk about.
All right.
All right.
Are we
thank
adjourned?
you.
I guess.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Go spend some money.
That's what,
That's
yep,
it.
Dane, spend some money.
Spend some money.
Oh, you mean sales tax? Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what you
Are you
mean.
going to use that hard copy of the budget?
Am I?
Yeah.
Sure, that's like, all that's the clip.
Pardon me?
Yes, I keep all
Oh,
that.
okay.
I mean, I can look at it online too.
Well, I can too, but it's hard to, yeah.
I don't print at home.
No, I don't print it all out. I can do it online too.
You're absolutely.
Looking at screens, it's kind of.
You're gonna have what? Panini?
We go to have Chinese. I get my hot sour soups like great stuff. I do that for the winter.
Is that allergies or do you have a cold?
I think I'm getting cold.
All right.
Start to hurt.
Sorry.
I got a lot of, but my allergies have been the last couple of days.
They've been better.
No, crazy.
I was
Yeah.
making noise. I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I don't know if it's fall, I was,
But,
you know, raking leaves and shoveling stuff, maybe that's.
Some mold out there.
Yeah, it's,
Like we do
Yeah.
and, you know, intra office, I had a little that we looked at and the rest of the board had supported it, you know.
Oh, the
you know,
work, yep,
Work,
yep,
yeah.
yep.
Instead of.
Okay.
And it's, you know, and it's also keeping up with the bills because they put
Yeah.
bills in the boxes. Which is like,
Yeah, yeah.
so I'll send you an email about it,
Yep.
but, you know.
Then
that-
I'll work
that
with
would-
Phil.
Yeah, and that would, really bring.
Every little bit helps.
I finally sent you your ranking of the capital improvements. One is Ben's world, absolutely. Aging